Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Slime Boss here, and welcome to the finale, barring Nintendo doesn't announce Mario Kart 10 this year, of our Mario Kart tier list series. We went through every individual game and the battle courses, and now we're bringing it all to a head and ranking each and every game, including games that we technically didn't cover during the series because they're technically harder to play. But this is actually like a sequel slash follow-up to our ranking video that we did like all the way back in season one. It was the season 1 finale. And speaking of that, we have a returning guest in Hollow Time, Winter, Aurora.
I go by so many names at this point.
Well, I'm also joined by my usual co-host, Matt Gamer Bro, but also we have our special guest, Aurora. I don't know what to call you. Everything.
I'm finally back.
All right, fine.
I'm finally back after so long.
But yeah, this is like a true. I mean, I think we did have the other guys in that episode before, the main crew, but this is. But we
like
finally
the Mario Kart trio.
Yeah, yeah. So we finally brought back our boy. It's been a minute since we personally talked because you moved on over to Blue Sky, but
Yeah.
so
I think me and Omar might be like the two biggest Mario Kart fans, you know.
probably
And maybe Mailman too.
yeah. Well, he's gonna be excited because he's gonna actually probably start playing Fortnite like we do because of Hatsune
let's
Miku.
Yes.
Oh yeah, so many people are so triggered by that, but I'm like, it makes perfect sense with the season too.
I've been
It
waiting
does,
for it
yeah.
for so long. Listen, ever since they announced the freaking Fortnite, rhythm game thing, I've been begging for Hatsune Miku. I'm so
Like
happy.
at this point, we need all the Sega stuff. We need Samade Amigo. We need Sonic. Like, come on.
Oh yeah, she's Sega, isn't she? I forgot about that.
Well,
Yeah,
Sega-
like she's
Sega has
owned
kind of-
by
Yeah,
Sega.
Sega has the gaming rights for her.
Yeah.
This is
So-
the closest we'll get to Sonic and Fortnite.
I don't even know like
Closest we'll get to
how
Sonic.
far they're gonna go with it because obviously she's gonna have her own music packs.
There were some rumors already. I think showed that 2 skins, one shop, one in the past, and
Yeah.
then some jam tracks. I think there's a microphone for her, and like I think 2 back blings and a pickaxe. I think.
I just like wonder because there's like other characters too that people would love to
Oh,
see.
Let's say and emotes. Those are always guaranteed.
Oh
too.
yeah. Oh God, Miku emote. he's crashing out over there.
And I was gonna say 2 as well. There's always at least 2 emotes, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk Mario Kart. This, like I said, should be the final video.
Also, sorry to bring it back. The fact that she's following Snoop Dogg is kind of funny to me.
That I mean,
We-
there were
We
rumors
go
too
from
that
Snoop Dogg to Miku.
it could have been a K-pop group as well. So it's still
It was
kind
gonna
of
be New Jeans. It was gonna
yeah.
be New Jeans.
I'm
but then there
sure
was a
they'll
thing
come
that
eventually.
happened. There was a thing that happened, I think, where they're like producers or something left them, so that's probably why they aren't coming
It's
out.
weird.
Or
Okay.
something happened that almost broke the group up. I think it was. So
That's
it's like kind
crazy.
of they're in a rough spot right now. That's probably why they can't really add them yet.
Yeah, no, I'm surprised we don't. I mean, we have so much K-pop representation. There should be more,
A
honestly.
lot of emotes. There's a lot of K-pop
Yeah.
emotes.
Don't know nothing about it. All I know is that Baby Metal is in Mario Maker.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
All right. Anyway,
And Shaun the Sheep
true. Yeah,
and Hello Kitty.
I told you. No, I was kidding. So,
Not
as
sponsored,
per
not
usual, we are sponsored by Dubby. Using our
Dubby.
code CrazyCap for 10% off your order of any of their Jitterless Enerly flavors. Right back there, you can see my bottle and Mario. And there's a tub back there too. I've been drinking it. It's good. It wakes me up. And it saves me a lot of money because let me tell you something. I spent like $111 every 2 weeks on coffee, and this is like a good
based.
like $50, I think, and it lasts me a month. So saves me a lot of money, and if I use my own code, I actually get the money back. So, anyways,
money.
I was gonna say infinite money glitch.
yeah.
Yeah, they say there's no such thing as infinite money, but
Well,
sometimes there is.
You can't actually have a payout until you reach like a certain like $30 or something. So that's why you guys in the comments and watching this video should use it. It's really good. I use it myself. And of course, join our Discord if you want to join in on the conversation. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And of course, we also have a Patreon too. At the $5 tier, or even less than that, you can be getting access to exclusive content that we don't post here on YouTube. And we're going to be trying our best, but hopefully, this is the first episode of the new year. The goal is to try to release the episodes a week early on Patreon and then to release it over here on YouTube. So if that is a new incentive for y'all to help, because again, I say it's an incentive, but you guys are really helping us out if you do. Even if you gave us 50 cents, like every single penny that you guys donate on Patreon is gonna go right back into making videos. So if you can, awesome. If you can't, still awesome. But there's stuff over there too. There's a reason to want to help us out. So anyway, sorry. Um, we have to do our usual spiel every time, but we're gonna start the conversation with Super Mario Kart. We said before, the way we're gonna do this is that we used to make a whole tier list beforehand, but we're not doing that anymore. So let's just talk. How bad is Super Mario Kart?
I made mine
Oh.
beforehand. I made mine beforehand to use as a reference, but
Yeah, we're not gonna do like averaging out. We're gonna like kind of make the decision on the
Yeah.
fly.
Well, let's see
What-
here. Super Mario Kart is utter garbage.
It
okay?
is.
Yeah.
This game is not enjoyable in the slightest.
Nope.
yeah,
We can
I-
respect
if-
it. It was the first thing that kind of
Mhm.
gave us, because it's not the first kart racer, but it is the first of its kind,
Revolutionized.
and it kind of we have Hello Kitty Kart and Shrek
And
Kart
that's Pete. That's
and
a
Garfield.
perfection right there.
and
I
adult
even put
cartoon
Garfield
cart,
Kart.
like so
Garfield
it
Kart.
created I mean, CTR wouldn't be a thing either. So it's like it created a standard of what kart racing could be, and that's pretty much it. Because
Yeah,
a lot of the modern mechanics that we see don't really start coming up until 64, and then don't really get doubled down until DS. So we could just respect it for that, but otherwise, like track wise, music wise, it's just kind of meh.
it is definitely the game that.
It's the game of all time.
revolutionized kart racing games. It's definitely the game that like revolutionized like the kart racer genre. It kind of reshaped it. Kind of made. I would say honestly, if it weren't for this game, like kart racers wouldn't even be as big as they are. Like,
Yeah.
And I mean, that's not to say it isn't a terrible game because it aged terribly compared to the games now, but
Yeah.
it's definitely like. Although one thing to note, it still sold. It was one of the best-selling games on the Super Nintendo, but that goes for like every Mario Kart game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because people back then didn't have standards.
No, but like every console, like
was
Mario
a new
Kart is
idea, though,
usually the top seller, and or if it's the 3D.
It's always the top 5.
It's
Mhm.
it well in
It
recent
is.
times it's been Zelda, but before that it was either Mario Kart, Mario 3D Mario, 2D Mario, or Pokemon. So
But Mario Kart now is like higher than even the mainline Mario games. Like it's
Yeah,
sold overall
yeah.
more.
That's
Like it's crazy.
it's specifically 8. So if X comes out right away, then it's gonna be it's gonna be
It's
crazy.
probably. I think it's a lot of it's due to also the fact that not everyone likes platformers, but no one
Right.
can. A lot more people like a nice family kart racer they can play. Like
That's the other
it's
thing
easy
too.
to
It's
learn too, it
infinitely
appeals to everyone.
replayable. You can replay a 3D Mario game, but like that has a long single player campaign, and
Some
this
people will
this is
just play
something you
through it
can just
once and be done.
hop in like with your friends. It's something that everyone should own. So
Kids and adults can play it, and there's different skill levels for all players, competitive or casual. Like it's
yeah,
that's why
but
it's
that's
so
just
appealing
Mario
and why it
Kart
does
as
so
like
well.
a whole. Super on the
Yeah.
other hand does
F
not
tier.
have any of that.
I put that F tier because
Yeah.
F tier.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
obvious.
All right.
Absolute
No doubt.
bottom of the barrel. It's I can only go up from here. Maybe.
Yeah.
I'll
All
say
right.
though, it's been consistently the same. Every Mario Kart game since then has had good music. Even this
Yeah.
game's music is actually really good. Like, I'll listen to it just regularly. Like the songs in this game are so classic. I'll get them stuck in my head. Even the Super Mario Kart ones, I get them stuck in my head sometimes.
Yeah. All right. Mario Kart 64. All right. Now we're getting somewhere.
Okay.
So I will say the mechanics of this game are still a little archaic, but the maps especially and the music too is just absolutely iconic and kind of made
That
ripples
Raceway
going
theme,
forward. Yeah.
that Raceway theme is the Mario Kart song. Like when I think of Mario Kart, I think of the Raceway theme.
Well, I know your
That is
favorite track
like
in 8 is Royal Raceway, right?
it's
Or
my
it
favorite
was.
track in the original game too.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, my favorite of like the base retro track or tracks in 8. Yeah, Royal Raceway. The music helps that because the music is so good. But um, yeah, I like it. I feel like I'm not as big of a fan of it as a lot of others
Me
are.
neither. For me,
Maybe that's
Yeah.
just
64 is
may-
just kind of all right to me. It still suffers that the jank that just all the games back then had a ton of jank basically. They're still
See,
figuring things out with the genre
I
and
don't, I
stuff.
don't I don't think especially Nintendo games never really stuck the landing until like the GameCube to like Wii U era, and like the
yeah.
older games are like
Yeah.
they're classic and you can pay their respects to them, but like everyone like praises Mario 64 like it's the greatest game of all time in terms of gameplay and mechanics, and it's like not really. Like it is
See,
very archaic and
that's how I
stiff in
feel
a
about
lot of ways.
Kart 64. That's how I feel about Mario Kart 64 too. Like I feel like people are like, I mean, it's okay if it's your favorite. I'm not saying like, oh, you can't have this as your favorite because we all have different reasons. But like, I feel like a lot of people like, I don't know. In a way, it's kind of like it's good, but like the newer games are still like much better. At
Yeah.
least I think. But
Yeah, I
also the
mean,
rubber banding in this game, I cannot stand the rubber banding in
Oh
Mario
yeah.
Kart 64. Oh my god.
again, like I
It
said, Super Mario Kart was kind of like setting the revolution that is Kart. This is like setting the standard for what Mario Kart is, and in terms of like map
yeah,
design and music and gameplay, and it's like
like
the seeds are being planted
Yeah,
still.
yeah.
yeah.
That's why like yeah, like a ton of the classic, most iconic tracks came from this game, and those ones still hold up to this day. Like they
Mhm.
keep
And
bringing
now
them back for
Wario
a
Stadium,
reason.
except Wario Stadium for some reason. I
I
but
like
maybe the next
Wario.
game, maybe the next game, it's finally it's time to come back.
Isn't
Maybe
that
it's
like the
time.
only 64 one that hasn't been
It
remade?
literally is. It's literally the only one. All the others have been remade,
It's not
but
a
just not
good
that one.
level by any stretch of the imagination, but
But I'm sure a remake would make it a lot better, as
it's
most remakes have.
it's
Yeah, modern games
almost like
especially,
Excite Bike is like a sequel to that.
like a shorter sequel.
Yeah.
um, yeah, it is good. Like you said, yeah, it's not the Super Mario Kart's the first game. It started the franchise, but Mario Kart 64 is really where it kind of evolved. Like a
Yeah.
lot of the games now kind of still have mechanics that came about in this game. Like
Mhm.
for example, even the blue shell, the spiny shell was in this game.
Yeah.
Like it introduced a way to actually combat first place because Super Mario Kart didn't really have that. It was kind of hard to stay in first in that game, anyways. But
Well, I
or
think.
no, it was hard. It was hard to catch up in Super Mario Kart. If you were
Oh
last, you were
yeah.
just probably you were probably losing.
We were playing a couple rounds last year of Super Mario Kart, and we got through like the first two cups, and then the third cup we just got. I mean, the game's brutal. It's like if you get fourth place or lower, it just boots you out. It's like you're done.
You,
Just like
you know
try
what I
again.
find funny though? I've played the original Rainbow Road in Super Mario Kart, and I found that easier than most of the tracks in the third cup. I
Yeah.
found Rainbow Road. I don't know if it's just because I know the layout from the newer games, but
Mhm.
I found it easier. I was like, wow, it's not even the hardest track in the game. Bowser's Castle 3 or whatever is harder than Rainbow Road.
All right. Well, I personally would put Mario Kart 64 at C. It's not bad, but again, it's
Yeah.
not the greatest
I
one.
I put it in D, right?
I
Not
put
quite C
I
for me,
I
but I put it in D.
I'd put it in C.
I have a reason I didn't put it in C because I moved it down later. But
We'll see. See.
C.
All right.
we'll see.
Mario Kart Double Dash. Did you
No,
know?
Super
Or
Circuit.
Super Circuit. I
Circuit's in it.
misspoke. I was thinking about it, but
Super
okay.
Circuit.
Did you know that in Mario Kart Double Dash, there's a track that is called Yoshi Circuit, and it's shaped like Yoshi, but it's not the only track that is shaped like a character. Introducing Luigi Circuit from Mario Kart Super Circuit. It is shaped like Luigi. Wow.
Is it?
No.
I was gonna
I'm
say like I
quoting
feel like
a
I was
I'm
gonna say
quoting a Mayro video.
Isn't Super Circuit the one everyone hates? I feel like I have heard not great things about this one.
Yes,
You know
so
what? You know what's interesting though? It has it might be pretty small, but it has a small dedicated fan base. Like I've seen like Super Circuit like fanboys and fangirls like who absolutely
so
admire this game. I don't know if it's like they grew up with it or what, but like I know it has a fan base definitely.
here's my major gripes with it. It one, it's crazy because it is the most packed Mario Kart game in terms of sheer content,
At least for the time.
pretty much until Tour or 8 at that point.
Yeah, both of
Um,
those to be honest.
and again, the tracks are mostly super tracks, which are not the greatest. But the tracks that are on offer for Super Circuit are, some of them are even some of my favorites, which is crazy to say.
Some of the most
Um,
unique tracks and themes. Even the themes are some of the most unique
but
we've seen. Still.
unfortunately, this game plays worse than Super, and uh,
Oh wait.
and also Super
Oh.
Circuit. The music is, there's a lot of good music in there. I really love the sound font in Super
Bowser's
Circuit too.
Castle. The Bowser's Castle music is still my favorite Bowser's Castle song. It is actually my favorite Bowser's Castle song of any series. Well, okay, specifically the 7
Hold on.
remix because it's the most modern version of it.
Yeah.
But if they bring back like Bowser's Castle 4 in the next game and we get like a live rock version of it, oh my god.
Hold on.
Um,
I remember now. I actually did play this with some friends on NSO, and this was hot garbage. I hate this.
Yeah.
yeah, me and
Yeah.
Remember that.
me and Jaden tried it too, and it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it is
like
so much harder
much.
than Super, which is crazy.
Uh-huh.
So, oh, did we lose Matt? I think we lost Matt.
Oh yeah. It's real.
Honestly, this has to go under Super, maybe above Super, just because like it has more content. But other than that,
If we're putting this above Super, I'd say it's because it has better graphics.
better graphics, better music,
Yeah.
better tracks,
Crazy.
a lot of
That's what I
content.
did. That's what I did. I actually put it in low D. I actually gameplay is worse, but for graphics and the fact that it has like all the original courses plus new ones, it's basically just it's like the early 8 Deluxe before 8 Deluxe existed. It's a port of
Yeah.
Super Mario Kart with extra content. Which
Yeah,
actually it started off that way. It was just gonna be a port. I think it was just gonna be
true.
called like Super Mario Kart Advance or something, and then they ended up just adding more and
What
making
was
it
that?
to be the
Mario
first
Kart
handheld game.
128 or something that they found. That it was
Oh
like, it was
yeah.
supposed to be like an MMO on a Game Boy, which was like, doesn't sound even possible.
And a Mario Kart
They,
web,
they
let
were
alone
trying to
like
make
what?
Fortnite on a Game Boy.
Jesus. All
Yeah,
right.
I'll give it
Okay.
credit for the better music, better graphics, double the content.
Yeah.
Like, so low D, still terrible, but slightly better than Super Mario Kart, in my opinion.
I have it in F still.
Yeah, I know. This deserves to be an F above Super.
Yeah.
I mean, fair, but for me personally, I'd give it like slight spot above.
Hold on. Let me check something real quick.
I also didn't want to have one. I also didn't want to have one D tier, so I just moved it up there.
Mm.
I was
There
like,
we
I
go.
don't want to just have one single D tier.
Okay. Next up, speaking of double, the black sheep of the franchise, Mario Kart Double Dash.
If they don't have a double dash mode in the next Mario Kart game, I will scream.
Yeah, unfortunately this game is very hard to like compare to the other games, because it's like you can talk about tracks, you can talk about music, but like the
Mhm.
pure gameplay mechanics are very hard to get into. And
Mhm.
unless you grew up with this game, because they completely threw this shit out. They're just like, you know what?
Yeah.
And then they completely revamped the way Mario Kart works, and every single game after that has been exactly the same. So minus snaking.
I mean,
So
I kind of think it was a good thing because I feel like it'd get like not even, it wouldn't appeal as much if they kept the double dash formula going. I
well,
think the fact that it stands out as its own mechanic for that game, I think is actually what makes it more special.
yeah.
Now having it as a separate mode, I think would be great. Not like
Yeah,
yeah.
don't make the entire game like that. Like make
Yeah.
it a separate mode for people who want it. But like I understand why they kind of changed it after this. Probably cause to appeal more to more people.
I mean,
So it's a
they pretty much
little
standardized it after
easier to get
this.
into. I mean, that's like Smash too. Like after Brawl, Smash kind of became more standardized. I feel like.
Yeah.
But yeah. Also, the thing you said with starting with Double Dash, they really after or with the GameCube, they really like stepped it up with their games. It's kind of true because you look at the last console game, 64. This game is like it's like shot way up. It's 10 times graphically better. It's got like far better mechanics. Like it's actually impressive how the last console game before this was 64, and it looks nothing like it.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, you got the special items mechanic. And PD Piranha and King Boo were broken because they could have every single special item. um,
Yeah, that's the other thing too is that I really enjoy about this game is the special items, and they pretty much brought most of them back in Tour. I think it might be too broken of a mechanic to try to bring that back into a newer
I,
game.
I think I think they could though, especially if they inspire it off how it worked in Tour. I think it
Well,
could work.
maybe like a crazy like a frenzy mode or something where you can have the 3 items and do
You
that or
know,
something like that.
I was also thinking, imagine like a version. Okay, so imagine they had like multiple modes. They had like Grand Prix traditional items, and it's a base set of items. Then they can have like some other mode where it's racing with special items on, and then maybe in a versus mode they can enable it where everybody can use special items for fun. Like you can pick
Oh yeah,
items.
in in
Go
in
crazy.
in
Bring them
Mario
all
Kart
back.
8 they
Just go
have that
crazy.
too. So
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Bring that back, but include like special items for everybody. You can have a lot of chaos and versus.
yeah.
Imagine everybody gets to use Bowser shells, not just Bowser.
Oh god.
I would love
Just
that. That's the
only
chaos
Bowser
we love in Mario
shells.
Kart. Oh god, or giant items: Mega Mushroom, Bowser Shell, Giant Banana, and Giga Bomb. Oh
So yeah,
god.
I'll at least give it that. I'll give it its credit. It's unique. It's interesting. It's not
Mm-hmm.
the smoothest gameplay in the world, but man, like pretty much from this point forward, like this is Mario Kart. As far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned, and the double dash mechanic is very hard for me to get around. But this, I mean, this might be a little controversial, but I think this is like a solid B tier.
No,
I was gonna say B
I
tier.
agree. I agree. Actually, it's like it's like
I
it's like in the middle. It's like
yeah.
the mechanic is cool, but
Listen,
I'd probably rather play a more like
More modern one,
newer game.
okay.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
because Double Dash is one I never got to play, but I've always wanted to try out. I love the idea so much. I'm just really hoping that it comes back as an optional mode in a future game.
Oh,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
also definitely the most unique multiplayer of any game. Playing with two
Mm.
players and one person drives while the other person
Yeah.
does the items.
I
That's actually
honestly,
cool.
I'm surprised they didn't do it because it's like the Joy Cons work perfect for that. So
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have one person, one Joy-Con driving, the other one with items. It's just
yeah,
like the ultimate like. Plus, they can even add like imagine they even add like 8 player support, and then you can have like two
Mm.
people on each screen. One,
damn,
two, three,
that'd be
four, two, two, two,
crazy.
two. Like 8 player Mario Kart would go hard.
Well, I think they do have 8 players in the like local mode, right? Or I
Yeah,
think you can have
yeah, I
up to
think.
12 people, right?
Well, online, yeah, but.
Well, I mean, like if you have like 12 people with switches right
Oh
next to
yeah,
you.
yeah, multiple switches. Yeah, you could. But like, imagine 8 on the same screen because you'd have two people on four
Yeah,
screens.
it's like
That'd be
it's
kind
like
of
the
funny.
LAN mode in Double Dash actually,
I
where you
was
had to
gonna
hook
say
up like
something else
5
about it, but
Game
I
Cubes to
forgot.
each other.
Oh, I was gonna say this also gave us the. It's called a road. It's called a rainbow road.
True.
It is the road that you go.
All right,
It gave us that meme.
so B tier.
B
Yeah,
tier,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
All right. We'll go one more, and then we'll kind of like take not like a break, but like we'll recap to see where we're at. We're actually gonna hop on over to a non-official game or an official game, but it's made by another company.
Ah,
Mario Kart Arcade
I
GP.
I was wondering if you were gonna go by release or by the order I put them in. So
I'm
we are
gonna
going
go
by
like back and
release.
forth for a little bit.
I like that because it was this, then DS, and then GP2 was after
Yeah.
DS.
I'm going to reiterate what I said like the last time we did this. Haven't played it. It has Pac-Man.
Yep.
That
Well,
that alone is a good defining factor.
here
Yes.
here is the very weird situation with this game. It's arcade like in all aspects. The controls are fine. Honestly, they they play better than Super. But you actually have like a
That is
full
true.
rig and everything. But every
Yeah.
single game is exactly the same. There's nothing different between each of the game. Mario Kart Deluxe is an HD version with modern mechanics post 7.
And a lot more content.
Yeah, and then but the tracks are mostly the same, and then 2 I think is literally DLC for 1, if I'm
Well,
not
see,
mistaken.
that's the weird thing people point out is that the title should have been swapped because Arcade GP DX should have been what the second one was called because it's just a deluxe
Yeah.
version of the first.
Yeah.
Where GPDX should have been called Arcade GP2 because that's like actually more of a sequel.
Yeah.
Like it is kind of funny that the naming scheme, but whatever.
So, anyways, in terms of purely the first one, I really need them to bring some of these items over. Now, of course, unfortunately, there's a shit ton of items in this game. I don't know how the fuck they managed to do that, but there's like over 100 items like in
Yeah,
this game.
but the one thing that sucks is that there's that, but you're only limited to like 3 items per race.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
the other thing too.
it'll like go through like a roulette wheel and it'll pick 3 random items
Like
and you're
you'll
stuck with that for the
almost
whole Grand Prix.
never see all the items in the game, and
Mhm.
but that's
Yeah,
fine
because
because a lot of them do the same thing anyway. But
yeah, and some of them are more rare. That's why too. Like the more powerful ones are
yeah,
more rare. Like you're gonna be stuck with a lot of weaker basic items, which is
yeah.
kind of a downside. But
Another thing that's unfortunate, I believe there's like literally like maybe 5 tracks in this game, and there's like harder versions of them, and like I think in one game you can go
yeah,
backwards, something like
10,
that.
10 total, 10 total, but 5 of them are like variations of
Yeah,
the same track.
like a night
It's like I think
version, or like you take a
it's like
different path.
Mario. It's like Mario Highway, and then the other one's like Mario Beach, where it just takes the original track, but
Yeah,
there's sand now, and
yeah,
like it's sand like that. I think it goes a slightly different direction, but it's mostly the
yeah.
same.
So
No wonder they don't bring these tracks back. By the way, they'd be very similar. Jeez.
with all of those reasons, I think this is a good solid D tier. They tried, they
Hmm.
definitely did. It was an interesting take on Mario Kart, but I mean, once we get to DX, that'll be a different story. But I think they tried.
I
This is arcade Mario Kart.
I put it in
Yeah.
C just purely for the fact that I did. I remember. I think I tried it once as a kid. I barely remember, but I feel like if I tried this now, I'd enjoy it more than Super Circuit and 64 still.
Hmm.
And the fact that it's Pac-Man, I don't. It is
Yeah.
obviously different being an arcade, but it's also like kind of the first one where Nintendo had very little involvement in the development because it's
Hmm.
basically a Namco game through and through. They actually own
Hmm.
the games,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, which is probably why Nintendo can't bring back like the tracks from it.
Right. Which I don't honestly,
But
just based on the
not
way
the
that they're designed, I don't think it would really work in a regular Mario.
yeah, like they wouldn't yeah because they'd be too big. They wouldn't work. A lot of them would also be very short and
Hmm.
whatever else.
Mhm.
I mean,
But
they
yeah,
could
having
do like
Pac-Man
a
in there, having that
representation, like, oh, this is the Mario Kart arcade
yeah.
circuit or something. Like,
Like there's been some tracks in newer games that remind people of like some of the tracks from arcade. Like they probably
mhm.
took inspiration from some of
Well,
them, I'm
think
sure.
about it now. 7, 8, and Tor were technically made by this new studio, that's
Yeah,
owned by Namco. I know it was like Team P and Team Z or something, Team Two
yeah,
and Team Z or something like that.
yeah.
So, I
But
mean, it's not.
the arcade games are kind of the arcade games are weird. They're like the only ones like that Nintendo doesn't really own, at least most
Yeah,
of. I remember the history behind it was that they did a partnership with both Sega and Namco to make like some arcade stuff, and then
yeah.
like
It was
I
called
think
like the Triforce chip or something like
yeah,
that, and it was Nintendo,
Sega and
Sega, and
Sega they all had different roles. Yeah, like
yeah,
Namco made the games. Sega, I think, made the like chips and all the technological stuff, and Nintendo did the arcade cabinets. Like it was kind of a
yeah.
big
I
like
don't think that this game in particular was like a product of that, but it was around the same time because I believe the ones that mostly talk about it are F Zero, because there was F Zero AX and F Zero
oh yeah
GX. F Zero GX
yeah
was the
because
GameCube, and F Zero AX was the arcade one. So
literally just think of G for GameCube, A for arcade. Like
yeah,
AX is just the arcade version of DX. But
yeah,
yeah, it was like I think this started that though. This kind of started that partnership.
hmm,
But that's why it's so
yeah,
different because it's not really a Nintendo game despite using their characters, but
right.
they licensed it out to Namco
It's
to
it's
do them.
it's
So
very similar to like Mario and Rabbids, which is not it's not an RPG, by the way. Uh, very similar to that. Don't arm me. Like
so
Mario and Rabbids is one I can think of, or I guess the Zelda CDI games, kind of. We lost Matt again.
Oh no.
Oh no. are mad. It's broken.
It's broken.
That's not a good freeze frame, unfortunately. Oh, completely gone.
What one?
There he is.
So,
Freaking hate my Wi-Fi, man.
All right, so
Anyways, I was trying to say like I know it could be confusing because Bandai Namco has developed the newer games, but Nintendo
Mhm.
still like owns those. Namco just develops them.
yeah.
So
All right.
although maybe we can get Pac-Man as a crossover character in a new
Please.
game. That'd be cool.
please, please,
in an
Yeah,
official game.
please.
please.
We need
would
more
love
it.
crossover characters.
I want some third parties. Like get
Listen,
Sonic and Pac-Man in
listen,
there. It'd be
all
cool.
I'm
Sonic
saying-
is in Mario
all-
Kart 8. What are you talking about?
All I'm saying is that Steven Minecraft with a
No.
minecart as his cart.
That-
It would be hilarious.
Please.
It would be
It would.
hilarious.
If he can be in Smash, he can be in Mario Kart.
Smash
He
is
wants
the
to be a
crossover fighting game. This is
I
still
want
Mario
Steven-
Kart.
I want Steven everything. He's so funny.
Dude, when I've seen those like custom Minecraft
He's in Just
tracks that
Dance.
people
That's all you
made-
get.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
And you dance to Pig Step. You dance to the best song in the game. So
Mhm. All right, so let's get a quick recap and just make sure I got this right. I got B tier Double Dash, C tier 64, D tier Arcade GP, F tier Super Circuit, and then Super.
personally, I'd swap 64 and arcade, but we're not doing that. So
You think Arcade is better than 64?
I feel like I'd prefer it if I were to play it again, just for the uniqueness of it.
I guess.
The more and the slight. I mean, also part of the modernization of it, but
But I would rather play any of the arcade games over any of the real games just because for that reason, I guess.
oh yeah, we said there's
Yeah.
Pac-Man, but they also had Miss Pac-Man and Blinky in there too.
Yeah.
By
I
the
think
way,
so,
they had
yeah.
two other, they had two other Pac-Man characters, which is kind of funny. In every
True,
game, it has like some different Namco characters that
That's
they throw
true.
in.
Bump it up to A.
Oh my god. All
Miss
right.
Pac-Man is surprising considering Namco can't even really get the rights to her as much.
Yep.
Like the fact that she was in there is impressive.
I would know. I watched like a whole 3-hour video essay on that subject.
Oh my god. All right. Well, next up is the first of the modern Mario Karts, being Mario Kart DS.
A
And
lot of
Other
people.
than
I don't
now,
even think we have to discuss this.
Yeah,
This is
listen,
peak S tier.
It has Rob. It has freaking mission
Oh,
mode. Mission
Rob.
mode is peak. Why haven't they brought that back?
Exactly.
Except Tor.
It's-
Really, Tor's the only one that's revived it
Kinda,
somewhat.
yeah, but you know that's in its own little
Maybe
category.
maybe that's a sign though.
Listen.
But
Listen,
I,
this
honest,
game-
we don't even have to discuss like it's peak.
No. I mean, we can sit here for like an hour discussing how great it is. That's an
Yeah.
option.
Yeah,
would
I
if
mean-
had played it more. I played it one time as a kid and I hardly remember it.
Yeah. So
That-
I mean,
I
at the
swear to God.
time, right, when
I
you're
know for a
growing
lot
up
of
as a
people, though, they
kid,
grew up playing it.
when you're growing up as a kid, and for me personally, I had a lot less time with consoles and a lot more time with handhelds. So that's why like the Mario and Luigi's are more, more my cup of tea, or like 3D Land. I like 3D Land a lot. People don't like 3D Land.
I love
Um,
3D Land.
But I grew up, and then
Yeah, 3D
Pokemon
Land
too.
is my
Pokemon and Mario and Luigi like were my RPGs because I
Yeah,
didn't
same.
play Super. I didn't
We
play
have the
Paper
same
Mario.
childhood.
I know, right? So in that way, Mario Kart DS, I've sunk way too much time into. The tracks I mean, me and Devin fight all the time over like DK Pass versus DK Summit.
It's
Like
this game is the home of Waluigi Pinball.
Waluigi's
yes.
Pinball. Like
Probably the most iconic track besides like Rainbow Road.
and the only reason there's a
Although-
technically better game, or two technically better games than this, is because it just includes a lot of the great aspects of Mario Kart DS. So
Rob is
yeah,
there.
I
Like,
wish
why
Rob
haven't you
came
brought
back.
him
Yeah,
Bring him
this
back.
game introduced Dry Bones as well.
yeah,
I love him.
I
and
thought there was another new character, but I think it was just Bones and Rob. I think.
isn't there
I
like
don't
a
think there's
game
another-
theory that hinges on this game because
I don't-
Waluigi has a construction thing, and that means he technically is like Foreman Spike's son or something like that.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, that is kind
Anyway.
of funny. He had like a random like whatever it's called is like a cart.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah, I bet that was strange.
But yeah, this set the standard for how Mario Kart goes in the future, and it's just peak.
Yes. Yeah, no, DS was the one. That was my Mario Kart growing up. So I'm only slightly biased,
I
but
Yeah.
I
this
wish
is
I could
like
be as
the
excited
best.
as you guys. I wish I
I
could be
mean,
as
there's
excited as
only
you
one
guys.
gaping hole in the booster course pass, and that's Luigi's Mansion.
I was waiting for that the whole time. I'm
And
so excited
and
it didn't come back.
and Airship Fortress.
True, yes. Also
Mhm.
Airship, yeah.
That one was.
Particularly, oh man, big band version of the music.
Maybe next game. Maybe they'll bring it back.
I swear to
Probably as
God,
DLC
if
because
we
it's
look at Mario Kart X and it looks like the booster course pass, people are gonna scream instead of
What do you mean?
they're gonna be
do you
Master,
mean?
like
That's
they're
kind of
gonna
how like plastic those courses
yeah
look.
Scream in excitement or scream
no
in
scream
anger?
in
What do you mean?
anger
Yeah,
Why?
because
Do people not want a lot of courses?
no people are
Well,
gonna
the
be mad because they
graphics.
yeah,
look like the booster
the
course pass.
yeah the courses are
Yeah,
good, but they look like plastic. A lot of them.
Oh, I
again,
have a good feeling. I have a good feeling next game will be in between base 8 and the Boost Course Pass. It'll be
in
more cartoony, but it'll be as detailed as base Mario Kart 8.
in my opinion,
That's
I
I have a
think
feeling.
that a modern
Good
Mario
mix.
Kart, if they didn't take their time, would look like the booster course pass. It is just an HD Mario Kart 7, right?
Like,
That would be the next
yeah,
evolution, right? But
and
instead, they
yeah,
set a standard. Now, there are rumors saying that this game has been in development for a very long time, even before the booster course pass,
for
and
the
that
whole 10
actually
years
and
since Mario
they've
Kart
been
7.
absolutely utilizing that 4K DLSS, and this is going to be the best Nintendo game has ever produced visually.
see, this is why I'm
So,
saying
Bet.
that they might just straight up put like everything from Tor into it because after all that
I
time, you got to have so much content
I
added to it.
want
Like,
King Bomb. I want him. Give him to
I'm
me.
specifically
telling you,
from the movie.
I have a good feeling they're coming. They're gonna be here. I have a good feeling.
All
But
right.
Captain Toad. I want Captain Toad.
so I
Yeah.
put DS in B just because I don't have the same experience, but it's top of B. It is above Double Dash.
Here,
Um,
well, we will give you a little thing because that in the very next game we're actually talking about is actually Mario Kart Arcade GP2. I think
well,
we've exhausted
it's
this
better than
topic.
that.
It's
DS is
it
better
is
than Arcade
yeah.
GP2. That's for sure.
So I honestly I think we've exhausted this topic enough. It's just a little bit better version of one.
Yeah,
So I don't know if you
literally.
guys want to
Yeah.
throw that in C or top
I
of
just
B.
put it. I
Yeah.
literally just put it in C above the
Okay.
first one.
Okay.
Like, oh, I did add Yoshi courses. It's based for that. It did
All
add 2D
right.
Yoshi tracks
All
and
right.
Waluigi tracks. The two
Back
best
to what I
characters
was
got
actually
courses in this
mentioning.
game.
Mario Kart Wii. I will also put that in S tier.
Yes, yes. Now listen, Mario Kart Wii. I never
Yes.
owned a Wii myself. But I did play this game a ton, like in waiting rooms when I was waiting for appointments. They had a Wii setup that I could just play, and I played Mario Kart Wii a ton on that. I enjoyed those. Those are memories I cherish fondly. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I
This is
think
the game
Honestly,
to.
technically, no, Mario Kart Wii was my first Mario game as well, so bonus point for that.
Was it
Yeah.
mine? I think it might have been mine as well.
I think mine was
yeah.
either Galaxy or
Oh
New Soup.
no, no, my
I
first
re-
Mario game was actually
I
Super
remember
Mario World.
clearly. Because
Oh.
I was calling Bowser King Koopa because my introduction to Mario was the Super Show before I
Yes.
played Mario Kart Wii.
Yes, so did I. I had the box set of
Awesome.
yeah, I had the box set. It had like 4 discs on it. I just remember like being mad that I was not like because every single episode had the same thing every single time. It started off with a commercial for Shout Factory, and
No.
then it get into the live action stuff, and then into the actual show, and then it would play a trailer for the Zelda for the Zelda show, and then it would go back to the live action. So I
Well,
was just
excuse me.
Yeah, yeah,
princess.
yeah, yeah.
That was in every trailer. Too.
Yeah,
That was in
every time.
Zelda trailer.
every time.
They really thought they cooked with that line.
So
I
yeah,
really hope the Zelda movie references that. By the way,
Mario Kart
I
Wii.
can't wait for Link as Tom Holland.
No, it's not gonna happen.
he already played
Um,
Nathan Drake. He doesn't need to play
Yeah.
Link too.
So in terms of the actual game, I played this recently on real hardware, and it's just the motion controls just don't really hit as well as they used
Really?
to. They're not as
Because
tight.
I always played that with motion controls, and it was a blast.
Yeah, I just couldn't figure out why. Um,
A skill issue, maybe.
no, but like I played it with traditional controls, and I'm like, yeah, this game is still as good as ever.
Yeah.
I always played it with the Wiimote and Nunchuck, so for me that was kind of until I
Yeah.
did get the Wii Classic controller. Then I played it with that.
Yeah, I've always played
I
it with
both
the
love
were
Wii
pretty
steering
wheel.
wheel going on.
Yeah.
Wiimote and Nunchuck though is definitely the most comfortable for me. Like
Mhm.
I felt the most like comfortable controls. I always would play it with that. At least they had
But
options. You
did
didn't
we
just
all
have to do
play
motion
with
controls.
automatic?
Uh,
No,
I,
I didn't.
I
What?
at first,
I don't think I
well,
did.
it was my first Mario Kart game, so I started off that way. But once I got better at it, I did use manual.
I didn't even know drifting was a thing until 7. And
Yeah, I
that
didn't know
was
what
for the
automatic and
years
manual
of
meant.
playing Mario Kart. And then I went back to DS, and there was a mission where you're supposed to drift, and you have to get like a certain amount of drifts in a certain amount of time. I was like, why isn't the mission giving it to me? Like, I don't understand. I didn't understand. Like, I thought drifting meant turn.
Yeah,
So I was
I
like, what
didn't.
is
Yeah, I
going
didn't know.
on?
I didn't realize what automatic and manual was until I one time tried manual and I wasn't getting the little sparks. I was like, um,
Yeah,
okay.
so
And
like,
I had a harder time around some of the sharp turns. I was like, oh, great.
and I honestly blame Wii for that because it's like I thought automatic was like the because it's the first option, and they only do that because of the
Yeah,
motion controls, and it's like it's not the same. So
this is also the first game to introduce bikes into the series,
I
which
yep,
love
is
the
pretty cool.
bikes. I always use the
Also,
bikes.
the first game to kind of utilize the weight system. I feel like weight classes. Like they were in other games,
Double
but this is like the
Dash
first game to
2.
kind of like you could only use certain carts for certain like if you had Bowser and Baby Mario you had to use a giant cart because Bowser wouldn't fit in a tiny Baby Mario cart but
Yeah.
like
Oh, we keep losing them.
Rest in peace, Matt. No, sometimes it's like I can still hear his voice.
You're expecting him to say something.
can you actually hear me now?
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
Oh my God! Wait, you
hello.
Oh.
bought the $200 Ocarina of Time Lego set? Is that what's sitting behind you?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my
That's
God!
right.
I didn't
Oh
even
my
notice that. Holy shit!
dude, wow. But yeah, it introduced that. It gave us Funky Kong,
Yeah.
Yeah,
arguably the most popular Mario Kart character in existence. It also
I
gave us Rosalina and Dry Bowser as well, also really good characters too.
I can't not think of Funky Kong in this way now because we were watching the final trailer for the Booster Course Pass, me and Pug, and Diddy Kong came up and we're all like no, and then instantly Funky shows up and they're like
You know, you know,
Yeah.
you know what was funny though? You know what was funny though was I was wanting Diddy and Pauline, and I saw them, and I was like, oh man! And the next thing you know, she comes out of nowhere. I'm like, wait,
yeah, I thought it was
what?
over, and then they had like
No,
four
I
more
know
characters.
they hate us with an extra character. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
and of
That's
all
crazy.
things, it was freaking Peachette. Like,
I mean, I like Peachette. Okay.
yeah, but like of it all the I would at least have wanted Nabbit over the
Hey,
Peachette.
I
people
would
pointed
not.
out.
No. I prefer Peachette over
You
Nap.
can
Come
fight.
on.
Well, you can fight with Devin on that one.
Okay.
You know what? Peachette, honestly, yeah, I'm glad she's here. And people say at least unlike Pinko Peachy existed before.
Yeah,
True.
So
yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
like,
there's that at least.
honestly, if the
I
next
can't
game,
wait.
if every
I
single
I can't wait for freaking gold, bronze Luigi.
yeah,
in Mario Kart.
every
No,
major character,
Nathaniel
not the
Vandy.
babies, the like
Green,
Mario,
bronze,
Luigi,
Luigi.
Peach, and Toad, they all have like metal variants.
Yeah.
Heck, every character should have one.
No, God.
Give, give me orange sapphire
Don't
Yoshi.
make them all.
Black
Just make them half.
Obsidian King
Don't-
Bomb.
yeah. Yeah. Don't even make them all. Just make them the other half of the roster.
Well,
That'll
no,
work.
no, no. But in this game, we got to remember that they will probably consolidate the characters into
Yeah.
skins, which I think
I
is.
want. Listen, one of the things is Mario Kart Tour. I love all the costumes. I want all the costumes to come back into the console game.
And then that
I
makes,
think they will.
like-
I think they will.
like
There's no
Cat
way
Peach.
after all this time they've worked on it, they won't be there.
Like Cat
Mhm.
Peach and Tanuki Mario, like they have no reason being their own
And
separate characters.
You know
so-
what? They could even do a thing too, where even like costumes, if they come back, each costume can even if they bring back special items, each costumes can have some of their own special items sometimes. You beat Tanuki
No.
Mario, you get the Super Leaf. That could be kind of cool.
Yeah.
It
Well,
would give you more incentive to use the costumes.
this whole time we haven't really been talking about Wii itself. What
Yeah,
about
sorry.
like tracks are
I never even
great?
really got to
I'm
tracks.
using tilt controls.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I should say, DS was the first game to introduce retro tracks officially, but Wii is kind of the game that actually picked unique ones because DS just kind of did like there was like 6 circuits as retro tracks in DS.
Yeah.
It was like 2 GBA circuits, 2 from Double Dash, and then like 1 from Super Mario Kart and 1 from 64. It was kind of ridiculous. Actually, no, there was 3 from. There was like 5 or 6 circuit tracks as retros. It was crazy. Well, we at least picked a bigger variety of tracks, probably because the we could handle more unique ones. Like we got
Yeah.
DK Mountain back. We got like what Peach Gardens was in this game. Of course, you had
Yeah.
a few like you had like GCN Mario Circuit. You got to have your basic tracks. But
I
we
think-
had some more unique retro tracks in here.
I think in terms of Nitro music, I think this is probably the best we've gotten. Period.
This is one of the best soundtracks for Mario Kart by far.
Like Rainbow Road, Toad's Factory, what's the autumn one?
DK Summit, Maple Treeway.
Maple Treeway.
Both have good songs.
Bowser's Castle, which apparently is the same as Maple Treeway.
It's like a sinister version. Yeah,
Well,
the music
Maple
is
Treeway,
really
but
good too.
evil.
Yeah.
They also started. This is kind of where they started reusing music as much for certain tracks.
Hmm.
Like obviously the 2 circuits have them, Luigi and Mario Circuit, but then Daisy Circuit got its own unique music. So that's
Yeah.
like it's kind of there was less technical limitations. They didn't have to reuse as many songs.
All right. Next up is Mario Kart. Go
Did I
ahead.
even say where I put it? I put mine in like A.
What? You put Mario Kart Wii in A?
Look, I grew up with this game,
Disgusting.
and I grew up with this game, and I love it. But
We were gonna give you the benefit of the doubt and put an S tier.
there's things about it where I'm like, it brings it down a little from being S.
Matt, you could have
Like,
slipped by this
for
without
example,
slander.
I
But now we
wouldn't
know the truth.
like for example.
All right, we're moving it down to
I'll be
A
honest,
just because of
It's actually I hate that I could just try to well, not that it'd be easy to play it online anymore, but all I would see online is Funky Kong Flame Runner. Like,
Mhm.
I'm sorry, but come on, that's
Ain't
a little
nobody play
repetitive
Mario
to me.
Kart online by themselves anyway.
Unless you're Troy TW.
Yeah.
He so does. He's like the primary Mario Kart Wii YouTuber at this point.
Yeah.
I just find that a little like crazy that people only use one combo nowadays. Like even Mario Kart 8 has its like good combos, but you still see variety like online. Like you'll
Yeah.
still see.
I just remember
anything
everyone
really
using the
works.
trike, the Fisher Price.
Oh, yeah, the one little like tiny one.
Yeah.
Little-
All right. Mario Kart Arcade GP DX, infinitely better than the first two. I think we can say
yeah.
that. This one is
Mhm.
still around, so if you never played it, Omar, you can. If you got
This
a
is
round one
probably
near
the
you.
one- This is probably the one you'll see nowadays because you don't really see
Yeah.
the original two. In
This is
arcades
an
anymore.
old
It's usually
game.
this one.
This is an old game, but it's still around. It's still kicking. Like even
yeah,
Luigi's
it could-
Mansion Arcade's not really around anymore.
I think this one came out like Oh, it was after 7 technically. We're going slightly
Yeah.
out of order. but
Yeah.
Yo,
'Cause this
game's
came out,
got
like-
Blue Luigi.
7 was 2011. I think this came out 2012. So it's pretty good. It's pretty
Mhm.
modern somewhat. Yeah, it introduced gliders, underwater driving, biggest roster yet. Even
It had
introduced some of
the
the characters from 7.
Taiko. No.
Yeah, the drum dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Taika no
Dude.
Tatsujin. Yeah, it had and the little freaking Mamechi dude, the freaking what's
Yeah.
it called? The
Like Tamagotchi. Yeah.
Yeah, like two really random characters, but they had those. They
I love
added some
them.
of the characters that were introduced in 7. They added Shy Guy, Lakitu, and Metal Mario into
Most
the...
Shy Guy was technically in DS.
Oh, true, but like he was officially on the roster in 7.
Yeah.
And this game had costumes. It actually technically this is the first game to have character alts. Metal
Wow.
Mario had Gold Mario, Mario had Fire Mario, Tanuki Mario, Luigi had Ice Luigi.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think it had the card,
some-
like the swipe card system, right? Like you can save your
yeah.
data.
Oh, and character carts weren't restricted to their certain characters because in the original 2 you can use like carts with. They didn't have like you could swap and use any cart.
Mhm.
This game you can use anything. I forget. There's some other alts too. Oh, Bowser or Dry Bowser as an alt as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, they actually introduced costumes and alts technically in this game. Oh, Yoshi had red and black colors. I remember that too. Yeah,
So this is part of
it's
the reason why I want to move GP2 down to D tier and move DX to C tier.
yeah. I put mine in the tier higher. I put mine in low B, right below Double
I,
Dash
I
though,
just I just can't
and DS.
see myself in a world where DX is even remotely B tier. Because it's not
I,
even like B tier and above makes me think, oh yeah, these are good games. Like DX
oh,
is not necessarily a
can
good game.
can we point out the one downgrade from this game from the first two is that they changed Pac-Man to be his Ghostly Adventures design.
Oh god.
Yeah.
I
In the
mean, they
first two, he
had
was
to. They
A
had
pack
in.
is
to.
back.
I
Go
get, I get,
stomping at
I
his
get
feet.
marketing the
Like
show
the
and the games
hero.
came out around that time. I mean, I understand why the show and the
Yeah.
games came out around that time, but the original design was better. It was the Pac-Man world design. That's far
Yeah,
better.
Yeah.
they again when it came out that was like their whole like a lot of Sonic stuff was Boom related, even though it's not really the best era. Like just all their
Yeah.
marketing was Boom stuff, and to be
Even the
fair, the
Sonic
show
Boom
is actually
games.
okay. So,
Yeah.
You
uh,
mean
And
the
what
show is peak fiction?
I think the first Sonic Boom game is considered okay, but the other two after that are
that's not
considered
Sonic
terrible.
X.
Uh, yeah, I put it in low B because honestly, I find like when I watch videos of this game, I actually find it quite entertaining, and I feel like I'd really get a kick out of this game if I had a chance to play it.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
it's not like as good as Double Dash and DS, hence why it's below them in the tier, but I feel like it at least be somewhat decent. Like I feel like it'd be like the average Mario Kart experience. Oh yeah, also completely new tracks this time. They also didn't reuse any of the tracks. Well,
yeah.
they reused the layouts. Actually, some of the map layouts were back, but they changed all the themes, and there's no like really repeats as much, so it's a lot more unique on tracks. I think there's like
Right.
20 of them or something in this game, so it's not too bad. But
All right.
yeah, low B for me.
All right. So
But man,
next
if this
up,
game
we're
got a
gonna talk
console port,
about Mario Kart 7 and Mario Kart 7.
yes.
I personally would put it in S tier, but I think it's a
That's actually fair.
it is probably the best Mario Kart before 7. Before 8. I hated 8 when it first came out a
Oh,
lot, like with a
you know
burning
what?
passion. And 7 just has the best combinations of tracks from DS and from Wii. It has a
Oh
lot
my
of
god,
great
Whoa.
it
the
has a lot
retro
of
selection in this game.
it has a
Yeah,
lot of good tracks itself from the Nitro selection. Unfortunately, a big thing that bogs it down is that character selection. That is god awful and one of the
I
worst character
disagree.
Oh
selections
wait,
in
I
this
the
is the one with
disagree.
series.
Honey, the Honey Queen,
Yeah.
I
right?
disagree. I disagree. One of the better rosters we've had. I disagree.
I mean, Mario Kart 8 had a pretty weak roster too,
I
but
know
like, it's
I know
like,
Waluigi's gone, but the roster's still pretty good
Oh yeah, you
besides
bring
that.
with Waluigi. Put this in F tier. This is garbage.
Like Honey Queen and Wiggler are the most like out of pocket characters, and I absolutely love when Nintendo does that. Plus, Lakitu finally getting a chance to also race now is also really cool.
yeah,
Shy Guy being legitimately playable this time. Even though it's funny because if you play it download play, it's just like in DS, you just can only play as different colored Shy Guys.
yeah,
But at least you can play as him in single player. Also, no versus mode is another downside. For some reason, they took out versus mode. You
yeah.
can only
That's a
play
little
Grand Prix
weird.
if you want to go through the courses. I don't
A
know
little
why
weird. Yeah.
they took it out.
My only
This
opinion
game,
on this game is that Honey Queen is a hilarious character, and I need her to
After
come
4
back.
years, you still haven't
dude,
played it.
dude,
Why?
I'm so
I have no
sad
reason to.
that I'm so sad that they've actually brought back every character from this game except Honey Queen. Like, why,
Yeah.
Nintendo? Why? I
Yeah.
know she was
Why
like,
did they bring back Wiggler? Like, they had no
I
reason.
like, well,
Listen,
no,
I love
Wiggler
playing as
too,
Wiggler in
but
the Wiggler cart.
Yeah.
no,
Yeah. Fair.
Wiggler too. It's just it feels weird having Wiggler back without Honey Queen. Like Honey Queen
Yeah.
is such a random character, and I love when they add just the most random character that nobody asked for. Like I love
Ma-
that.
For Mario Kart 8, they should patch in Honey Queen, but also remove Waluigi.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, I feel like this game is so underrated for no reason. Like I feel like people just
Yeah.
you talk about Mario Kart 7, they just push it aside like as
Yeah,
if
it is the start of the standardization. Like New Soup was
serialism.
super boring. 3D Land, people didn't like that. People didn't like 3D World when
Oh
it
yeah.
first came out.
It's just
Um,
I feel like
Mario
people
Kart
some
8
people
was like the only one that was like sort of like a highlight during that era because it was like, whoa, like why are they cooking? Like they like no reason to cook during this era and it's just all been
oh yeah.
just sterile across
And
the
maybe
board.
that's partially why 7 is so underrated is it was came out in that time and people were just like any game in that time is terrible and I you can
Hmm.
criticize the roster but I feel like it deserves more credit than it gets.
Like even Dream
Also,
Team and Sticker Star are part of that conversation
yeah,
too.
I kind of get why when you have
Mario Party.
consistent games that people don't like, it's hard to like anything that comes out in that time. But
Hmm.
7 doesn't deserve the hate it gets, and also the best retro selection up to this point.
Yeah.
Mostly fan favorites. Like the Wii tracks were literally Coconut Mall, Maple Treeway, Koopa Cape, and what's the other one?
You just got
Oh,
coconut mauled.
and Mushroom Gorge. Like those were 4 of the most popular tracks in
Yeah.
Wii and DS. Airship Fortress, Luigi's Mansion, Waluigi Pinball, and well, then there's DK Pass. But like
Before
it's crazy.
the booster course pass, this was just like the most modern way to play a lot of the greatest
Hmm.
tracks, and this is part of the reason why I didn't really like 8. Like 8 had a
Oh,
lot of good tracks on its own, and the nitros, but the retros are just kind of lacking.
not not to mention the best Rainbow Road, the best Mario
Oh yeah,
Circuit in
Yeah,
my
yeah.
opinion, at least
yeah.
one of the best Mario circuits. Uh,
And this was
which is
before we had Super Nintendo or Super Rainbow Road like 5 times in a row.
oh
So
yeah, but that was also this was the game that brought back a Rainbow Road for the
yeah,
first time though. It was first time retro Rainbow
so
Roads returned, and there was the Woohoo tracks, which is why I always love this game, and they
yeah,
still haven't returned. Come on,
so
Nintendo. They are now officially, because of Tor, they're officially the only 2 Mario Kart 7 Nitro tracks that have never returned.
hmm
The Woohoo tracks. Come on, Nintendo.
I don't
They
think
got to
they
be
like
cooking those
Woohoo
for next
Island
game.
anymore because they're just like whatever happened with Switch Sports. Like,
I hope they bring them back next game or something, though, because come on, they're the only 2 left.
but yeah, no, I personally really enjoy Mario Kart 7. It has a lot of shortcomings, but
Yeah.
like this was like the best game to
Mhm.
play while 8 was still really a thing until the booster course pass. But before we get into 8, let's talk about the last Mario Kart arcade game, and that is Mario Kart Arcade GP VR. And this is I after doing some research, this is
I'm just
literally
laughing
the
at
first
words.
game, but in VR. It is not even like
Yeah.
a new game. It's, 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 it's Mario Kart Arcade GP DX in VR. There's nothing
and they
different.
only they only have like 2 tracks from DX. They don't even have all of
Yeah,
them. And only like I think it's only Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Bowser you can play as too. There's only
yeah.
like 4 characters.
It's also exclusive to Japan, so I think it's fair to say we
Yeah.
can put this in F tier.
I even put it below Super. I even put it below Super Mario Kart just because like at least I
Yeah.
can play Super Mario Kart.
Yeah.
At least I can play that if I want to. I can't play VR at
I
all.
hope we
Plus,
get like a successor to this on the Switch too, because
I'm
oh,
so sad.
hopefully we'll
Yeah.
actually
yeah.
have official VR support and not a freaking piece
Like
of
Please.
cardboard.
and I know this VR
Not a
one.
piece of cardboard.
I think Arcade VR they wanted to do more with, but they just kind of abandoned it. Like
Yeah,
they just kind of released it to the public
it
for
was in
testing,
beta and
just
then it
gave up.
disappeared.
Yeah, like it was. I don't know if it was hard to make or if they just weren't passionate enough with the project, Namco
Yeah,
mainly, but also Nintendo. Like I guess they just kind of, yeah.
yeah. I mean, we kind of got like a spiritual successor too with the Mario Kart ride in Nintendo World because that's
If I
AR.
got it, if I got
Mhm.
a chance to go to Japan though and try it out at least once, I'd still love to, just to see
Mm,
what a Mario Kart in VR could look like.
right?
Like
Yeah.
being in the cart in the eyes of your character, throwing items.
Again, literally the Super Nintendo World. Like you were
Yeah.
literally
Yeah,
in the cart.
that is true.
So
That
Yeah,
was fun. That goes in A
That's like
tier.
the next.
we should have put
rank
that
that.
on the list. Yeah, fuck.
Yeah.
Can we add Super Nintendo World Ride and the Booster Course
Yes.
Pass to this list?
That's what I almost thought about adding the pass separately, the boost course pass,
Yeah.
but because it is sort of like its own thing in a way, but
Yeah.
we can always talk about it separate.
Yeah.
Yeah, VR
All
F,
right.
though.
So as a quick recap,
Remember
and
what-
please let me know if I should change anything. We have S tier Mario Kart DS, Mario Kart Wii, A tier Mario Kart 7, B tier Double Dash, C tier 64 and Deluxe, or DX,
Yeah.
D tier 2, GP2 and GP1, F tier Super Circuit, Super, and then GP VR.
We're done with the arcade games, thank God.
All right. Back
For
to the
now.
back to the mainline games. Here we are with the postmodern Mario Kart era. We
Mario Kart?
have Mario Kart 8 released
Mario Kart!
originally on the Wii U, and we're talking specifically this version, um, which doesn't include certain characters. It includes a special battle mode. Um,
Oh,
so yeah, this
Oh.
was definitely a thing. Uh,
this, it, it existed. It was a thing that existed.
This one gets a doom from me, Chief.
Yeah, but
I
again,
feel like
remember at the time when it came out, like this was the most recent Mario Kart, and it was peak. So, well, I didn't think
actually,
so, but
I'm looking at my list now. I put it above another game. I actually would have put it lower than, but I have it in A, but it's below Wii, just above 7. Just because, like, okay, well, with 8 Deluxe coming out, it looks worse. But I'm
yeah,
also
Yeah.
trying to consider it as a game at the time on the Wii U. This was insanely peak. Like, the
hmm
battle mode, it could have been better because I don't know what they were doing there. But
I
having, like,
I never really
and
had any fondness for this game. Like I said, I
and I'm
always went back to 7, even after 8 released, and it was just like,
I think that was a lot of people too, to be honest. I feel like a lot of people would agree with that, honestly. Like, I know some people now even say like, yeah, I didn't like the original 8 that much.
yeah,
um,
and then 8 Deluxe came out, and yeah, it fixed a lot of things, but still, for me, I was just like, this is the same thing. Why didn't we get a new Mario Kart for the Switch? Like it was just not really for me. So
probably just because they wanted to bring over all the Wii U games because they weren't backwards compatible.
yeah.
Um, but we'll get to that. The original 8, besides battle mode, honestly, the DLC though really made this game for me. Like, I liked
Mhm.
it a lot before, but I'll
Mhm.
never forget opening up Mario Kart 8 on my Wii U in like early, I think it was like early 2015. No, it was late 2014 technically when they revealed him, and just going on there and seeing freaking Link
Yeah.
on the homepage of Mario Kart 8, and then seeing the Animal Crossing villagers and seeing a random Mercedes Benz car, and I was like,
Yeah.
what the heck did I just come over to? What is
Yeah.
this?
That's the one thing that we kind of missed with the booster course passes. This was, I mean, we didn't even know we were getting characters, but like
Mhm.
the DLC was kind of perfect. Had a perfect form factor. It came with 2 cups, 2 characters, and some carts, right?
Yeah.
Whereas this was just only tracks, pretty much with
And
the
the
BCP.
Mercedes one was free. It was a
Yeah,
free DLC. It
yeah,
was
I
the
forgot
first one
about that.
released. Then they did the Zelda one and the Animal Crossing one, and it released a bunch of Mii outfits. So you even got like Sonic, Pac-Man, and Mega Man represented in there too. Some
Yeah,
other characters using the
Damn.
Smash amiibo.
I do love the
Pick,
amiibo feature. That's
oh
fun.
yeah,
yeah,
Pikmin, Kirby, Captain Falcon amiibo. Like you could have a Mii, Captain Falcon, Samus. It was their
yeah.
way of getting in other franchises. I know people look at why Tanuki Mario Cat Peach for the first DLC, but the second one at least brought back Dry Bowser, who is a really cool character from Wii, so that was at least cool.
So
Um,
Oh, go ahead.
crossover tracks. Animal Crossing track gave us a unique thing because it's the first track to have 4 different variations
Mhm.
that you can either pick, or if you don't pick, it'll just pick random because you can pick
Right.
with the bumpers and the triggers.
Anything from you? I haven't heard anything from you, Omar, in a minute.
Yeah,
I well, let's see. The original Mario Kart. I mean, it seems alright. I never played the original on Wii U. I never had a Wii U myself, but like, I mean, just comparing it to Deluxe, it just looks like there's nothing there in comparison. Deluxe
Yeah,
has so much more content. So,
yeah.
yeah,
but like when you think about the time it was released, it seems like yeah, it was alright.
yeah.
You know,
That I
it's
mean,
even more impressive. It's even stranger when you consider it only came out like I think because the Animal Crossing DLC took a while to come out. The Zelda one was 2015. The Animal Crossing one was like I think no, that was 2015, but it only came out like
mhm,
2 years after the DLC for the first game ended. So it's kind of still
yeah.
somewhat new, I guess. Still somewhat in people's
Personally,
minds.
personally, I would put this at the top of C tier. Just me personally, but we could
Wow.
change that.
I know I always also say I would prefer more Mario characters than crossovers, but I still gotta appreciate the crossover characters because no one ever thought we'd get Link in Mario Kart of
Oh
all
yeah.
things. But and I like that he stands out. Like he does not look like he fits at all, but I like that
He's from
he
New
he
Donk City.
and I like they went with the Skyward Sword design because it was the most recent design they
Actually,
had at that point.
I don't think it was. Was it the Skyward Sword design, or was it like a weird
Yeah,
mission? Was it like
his
the
his his tunic is like the Skyward Sword one.
they went out and they said they made a unique version of Link specifically for Mario Kart.
Maybe. I mean, maybe,
And they
but he looks
used
very like Skyward Swordy.
in
So
a lot of
that
the
that brings
Nintendo stores, like they have like a render of Link that is not quite Skyward Sword and it's not quite Twilight Princess, but it's like
Maybe a
basically
mesh of the two.
our modern green tunic wearing Link,
Maybe
and then
maybe it was like
against
a
Champion Link.
maybe it was like a mesh of Twilight Princess and
Is
Skyward
this
Sword
canon to the
designs.
Zelda timeline?
Oh God.
No. Uh, I put it in A. I accidentally misput it because on here I have it above Wii. And I'm thinking about it now. I put Wii above it nowadays. I think. Like if I were to go back to
Yeah.
play one, I'd probably rather play the original Wii over the original 8. But
Yeah.
the original Wii, as if there's a port. I'd rather play Wii than the original 8. So
Where should we
middle
put
A,
a middle of A?
above. I put it above 7, below Wii personally.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I
Also,
don't.
I want to point out one more thing. Retro tracks, yeah, they were in 7, but they were kind of just like HD versions of previous ones, like higher poly models. Mario Kart 8's the first game to really make retro tracks feel new. Like
Mhm.
every retro track feels like it could have been a Nitro track. Like
Cheese Land.
they basically made them from the ground up. Yeah, like especially the DLC ones. Cheese Land
Mhm.
and like Ribbon Road feel like whole different tracks. But even like Royal Raceway, despite being pretty faithful to the original, still feels like it could be somewhat new. Like it's impressive.
Mhm.
This
Yeah.
is where they up their game with retros, and I hope it makes me excited for the next game because they'll probably do the same. They'll probably go crazy with the retros. They'll feel like new tracks built from the ground up.
Yes.
It's impressive. Oh, and all the songs were redone. How could I forget that?
Yeah.
All the Mario Kart songs with live instruments, live band, and I hope again they do that next game too.
All right. If we could take a break from Mario Kart 8 for just a moment, we can talk about Mario
Yep.
Kart Live Home Circuit.
Even though that came out after 8 Deluxe or
Yeah.
whatever.
So right there,
But
you can
yeah,
see my boy
Wow.
Luigi.
Oh, you
I
have
do. I
it.
see it.
Yeah. So I guess
I have it. I've never opened it.
I'm probably the only person that like actually played it. It's fine. Like
I
again, it's
have it. I
very
haven't played it
hard
yet.
to put this up against other Mario Karts, but like
Mhm.
it was a very cool idea, and honestly, I haven't seen any
Yeah.
tech like it. Surprisingly, with all the AR functionality and things like that. So this is genuinely a really good piece of tech, and it's I mean it sits nicely on my shelf, but also like if I had an opportunity to play it, I would. I just can't reasonably find an excuse for a grown ass man to to play with a toy, especially because it is physical. I just again personally I think because back in the day we all had like RC cars and stuff like that, and those were remote controlled or whatever, but being able to control a physical toy with a controller and somehow make it feel like a regular Mario Kart game is mind blowing. Like you can
Yeah.
drift and
Mhm.
everything, and it's like, what
This
the
is what I
fuck?
admire about
So,
Nintendo is that Nintendo sometimes are not afraid to try new things. Like
mhm.
they will just randomly like
Yeah.
do new things that like even Sony and Xbox haven't done. Like they innovate, and this is like a good example of that. They took their most popular franchise, made it like an AR game, and like somehow it still plays like Mario Kart. And the fact you
Yeah,
can basically make your own track design, you can lay
yeah.
it out any way you want.
Yeah.
This is Mario
Like
Kart Maker, the closest thing we'll ever
and
get to it.
it's funny if you have pets because you just see your pet giant on your Switch
That's
screen
funny.
Yeah,
smacking the car.
yeah,
Uh,
I know.
and like also
I always really like this. So yeah. It's
even though
I'd
it's
like
only
to
you only
have
have
it.
Mario and Luigi, this was technically the second game to introduce costumes. Mario and Luigi have like a bunch of costumes in this game that you can use.
hmm
There's quite a few carts. It's impressive, and they did do technically DLC for it. Like
Oh yeah,
it
they
started
did.
with they added like 4 additional cups, I think, or 2 more additional cups. They added some
Mhm.
additional, well,
Like themes. Yeah.
Tracks in this game are more
Yeah.
like themes, and all the music is reused from Mario Kart 8. But
Mhm.
it's a unique idea, and for that, I put it in low C, below the original 2 arcade games. But I can't put it in D just because of how innovative it is. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I would
in
personally
terms
want to
of
play this more than Mario Kart 64, but
True.
literally,
True.
that's why I put it above Mario Kart 64. Like, I would probably get more fun out of this than I would the older games.
yeah.
But, like, yeah, it's just so unique. And I remember I was sad because I remember seeing they were going to release a third set with Peach, but they never did because they were going to release another one and they probably gave up on it because, I don't know, maybe they just were done with it. But I remember seeing a thing that they were working on a Peach one that they
A
were going to
Peach
release. I guess
Kart.
they just never did. Yeah, and then like she'd probably have a bunch of costumes like Mario and Luigi, but they never released it.
Hmm.
Would have been cool to at least see that, like at least a couple more like additional characters come in. Because why
Yeah.
not?
That would. Yeah. Well,
I
that
would have
would
bought
be
a Yoshi.
cool.
I would have got a Yoshi one. I would have got a Yoshi one.
I'm gonna go ahead and throw up a few more here.
Oh, and the fact they also have their own like course hazards. But I somehow hope in future games they have a mode where you can just make your own tracks.
Mhm.
It makes me hope
That's
Nintendo
fun.
sees how big the custom track community is for Mario Kart 8, but especially for Wii.
They don't give a
Like,
shit. You know that.
but like, if they could actually implement an
Come
official
on
like
now.
track maker mode in the game where you could use like elements from any course, like put in your own hazards and music, it'd be so good.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I
maybe
mean,
if they don't want people modding, maybe they should add that.
we had the F-Zero one. They had a track maker in that,
Oh yeah, see, and Rainbow Road was in
and
that.
in Labo actually. Forgot about Labo had to like
True.
create your own Mario Kart
Yeah.
track thing.
It was like a race. Yeah, like they're clearly not opposed to the idea of doing a Mario Kart maker. Why not?
Yeah.
Go for it.
All
Either a separate
right.
game or probably just as a mode would be better. But
All
yeah,
right.
low
Back
C.
back to
Not
Mario
bad.
Kart 8 here. I decided to split up the booster course pass here.
That's a good idea.
So purely talking about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe,
Base 8 Deluxe.
this is honestly the ultimate of Mario Kart, even
Yeah.
before the DLC came out.
Yes.
I still don't personally like it, but to each their own.
It's okay to be wrong.
There's a lot
See, I
of
admire that.
new characters that were, added. Again, it's again post booster course pass, which is very hard to talk about. Like this, the adding the booster course pass makes it feel like an entirely different game because
It really that
Because
yeah.
it is.
the
They literally just gave us
that's why I made it separate.
I
So
yeah.
the
I
character
see the pass
selection
as just its
is
own
a
game at this
little
point.
bit better than 8, but it's still very meh.
They
And then
They at
the
least brought back some classic returning characters. We got King
yeah.
Boo, Bowser Jr., and Dry Bones back, and they added the Inklings as a new
Yeah.
crossover character as well.
I love that.
the
And-
the
so
battle
much.
the battle tracks are a lot better. We have some new and retro,
Yes,
and we
actual
have
battle tracks.
Urchin Underpass, which is honestly one of the highlights.
Yes.
And honestly, I like how they did that with Splatoon because I think that makes more
Yeah.
sense as
It
a
makes
battle
it
track
fits
than it would
perfectly.
be a
I
regular
would
race
love to
track,
see
yeah.
a regular racing track, but the battle track fits perfect. I can understand why they did that.
It's not just the battle tracks too. The entirety of the battle mode was revamped as well. They had
Oh
like
yeah.
2 or 3 new modes as well.
Well, 4. The
4.
original 8 only had Balloon Battle.
Yeah.
This one brought back Coin Runners from Wii, Bob on Blast, and Shine Thief from Double Dash, and it gave us Renegade Roundup, which is a
Whole new
original
mode, yeah. But in
So we
terms
got
of
4 returning ones
content,
and a new one.
like single player content, like all the DLC was included from the last game, but not really a whole lot of new stuff. Just pretty much just characters in that revamped battle mode. So it's just a
Yeah.
slightly better, and in the grand scheme of
Couple new
things.
items.
Oh yeah, a
Couple
couple
new
new items too, and the
'Cause
double
the feather-
dash item mode basically.
Oh yeah, double item boxes.
Oh, get
You
him out of
have-
here!
What the? You have 2 item boxes. Yeah, the feather was back in battle mode for the first time since Super Mario Kart. They brought
Yeah.
back that item. Well, in Super Mario Kart, it was for any mode. And
Yeah,
then they had what was the other one? Oh, the Boo item came back
yeah.
from Mario
That was a
64,
weird
from Mario
omission.
Kart 64.
Honestly, there's still one item really missing, and that's the fake item box. Like I don't know why the fuck why it's.
Oh, I missed
That's
that.
so weird,
That
right?
was
Yeah.
one of my favorite things in DS.
We haven't
I
seen
missed
that
it.
since Wii.
Yeah. So again, this is just a slightly better version of 8, but I still personally just don't like. I was so bored of 8. Like it just didn't really do it for me. And the new like with Mario Kart 7 adding gliding and underwater, that changed the game completely because it allowed very unique visual things in terms of the underwater and a completely new control scheme with the gliding. Anti-gravity just doesn't really hit the same.
No,
It is
literally.
just
For I
driving
mean, the
upside
majority of
down.
the majority of the time, I don't even realize that we went into
Yeah.
anti-gravity because it's just so
Well,
seamless. Like
to be
Yeah.
fair though, like I mean, I
I
still
don't
think
even know when it
anti
happened. I don't
gravity is
even
a
know.
great. I still think anti gravity is a great thing though, like because they can compact a track into a smaller spot still for one,
Yeah.
but also
I
like
I think it does
it changes the
provide
mechanics a little bit.
it does
The like
provide
bumping into
some.
people, you spin,
Oh
you get a
yeah,
spin
true.
boost if you
Yeah.
hit people.
There's some
Mhm.
things. But it provides a lot more unique situations for like retros, for example, for example, Toad's
Yeah.
Turnpike. You go on the side of the
Yeah,
wall. That's anti-gravity, I
Yeah.
believe.
You
Or
know, make those courses not as flat and boring.
what's that one from? Well, this is actually a reference in and of itself. The GBA Mario Circuit, I believe. It had
yeah,
the
it's raised up
it's
by
raised
the
up
ultra
by the
hands.
Ultra Hands, but it's also anti-grav there as well.
That's like a toy. That's like a toy Nintendo released in like 1978 or whenever it
However,
was.
I don't even know why, but that track just seems, even though it's like, oh, this is a cool way to reimagine it, but it's like it seems like I'm just racing on Mario Kart Stadium again, which is like weird.
Now, now the anti gravity really works on the F Zero tracks though.
Oh yeah,
Like those are
those make
perfect for
perfect
anti
Yeah.
sense.
gravity.
Yeah,
Rainbow Road too because it's in space, so having the anti
but
gravity on
that's
Rainbow
still
Road
the
makes
worst
sense.
Rainbow Road.
Fair, but there is
I guess.
N64 Rainbow Road that also uses it. So
Yeah, and that's the best Rainbow Road. Well, before we came back, so
yeah, um, yeah, I know it's not like I know they want to do something new. Anti gravity doesn't have to do a lot, but it just makes track design so much cooler.
I will
And
say,
underwater and gliding still change your controls and stuff. Like underwater is more slippery. Like your
yeah.
friction, you have less friction underwater is another thing.
I will say I'm a huge defender of double items. However, they should tweak it just a little bit to where like if you poop an item out, like you have used it, right? So that you're able to technically hold 3 items.
Oh
So that
yeah,
was a
Right.
mechanic
because
that a
Yeah. No,
lot
you
of
I agree with
competitive
that.
Mario Kart fans are just like, this
you
is a
could do that
little
in Wii.
off. But
Yeah,
like
because I
You could do
want
having,
to
that in
have my
Wii.
little shield around me when I
yeah,
take up an item slot.
yeah, and double items have been a good feature
Yeah,
all in all anyway.
the
So
Mhm.
it's funny because in Wii you could do that with a single item. If you got a banana,
yeah.
put it behind you, hit another item box, and you got
Yeah,
another
that's what
reserve
we're
item.
saying is like keep that feature, but also still being able to have two
Another,
items.
I think another feature I'd love is some sort of button where you could like press it and it would swap between the items that are
Yeah, so
already
that was a
underneath.
double dash thing.
Yes,
I
Because
would
please.
in
love, I would love like if I get a coin in the first slot and I get a banana in the second one, I'd love to just swap so I can have the banana first, then the
mhm,
coin, and then when I can just keep
yeah,
doing that.
in
It'd be a
double
lot
dash,
easier, I think.
with the double item mechanic, because the double
Oh,
item
that's
box
true.
comes from double dash. It
Technically, you could do that.
instead of basically having your cart has 2 items, it's each character holds an item,
Yeah.
and so when you swap the items.
Whoever's
So
on the back is your primary item.
yeah.
So,
So overall, with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe base game, which is weird to say because it's not a
well,
base
for
game,
putting it separate now, I gotta
it's
reconsider my ranking now.
it is
Hmm.
it's just ever so slightly better than 8. I would personally put it in B tier, but because we already put the Wii U version in A tier, it's probably just top of A tier for me.
I was gonna say I'll just put it in A right above
Yeah.
it, but still
Yeah.
below Wii, I think personally, but
Mm,
I'll put it there.
Agreed.
yeah.
Or maybe I could put it above Wii. I think about it. No, I'll put it right above. Because I used to think Wii was my like fourth favorite game, but it's gone back up to third in recent years.
All right, let's take another break from Mario Kart 8 and talk about
Yay.
Mario Kart Tour. All right, me
My
and Omar, hold
goat.
on, Me and Omar, ready? I think we can do it at the same time. Ready?
Like,
3,
Oh no.
2, 1. F tier.
hey.
Ah, what?
What?
Oh my god.
I took my headphones off because I was expecting to hear the worst, and then Omar comes in here being based.
Listen. I played it a bit back then. I don't play it anymore, but I did play it pretty regularly back then, and I thought it was
I
fun.
remember that actually. Me and you would
Yeah,
talk about it all the time. I
yeah,
remember.
I thought it was really fun. And listen. Okay, gameplay aside, either way, this game has the best character roster by
Yeah,
far.
yeah.
One of my many online aliases is Aurora. I chose that name because of Aurora
Aurora
Oh,
Rosalina.
Rosalina. Yes,
Rosalina.
I love that. It's my favorite alt. I love it. I need that in the main games.
Like I
Oh
said,
my god.
I hope they all come back next game.
Again,
Please. Bring
a
them
Yeah.
back.
lot
Why
of
not?
what Tor
You have
brings
the
to the
models.
table is something that they need to have in Mario Kart X, like having coins, having some sort of purpose with the shop where you're able to buy all of the
Yeah,
skins. And
it'd
again,
be
it
really
fixes an
good.
issue with the roster of Mario Kart 8 because a lot of those are just alternate costume. Um, it also adds mission mode back, which is one of the greatest features from Mario Kart DS. So it
Yeah,
brings
and
a
there's a
lot of
bunch of
cool
them
stuff to
too.
the table, but unfortunately, it's bogged down by being on a very bad platform to play video games on, and also
Hmm.
the controls just never. I think it would have been peak Mario Kart if they had a controller option, and it was in the files that it was going to happen eventually, and it just never did. Because with the Apple Arcade port, I believe, um, and it
Oh
just
yeah.
never came to
No,
be.
you know why it happened? Because it turns out Nintendo controllers can't connect to Apple phones, so that might have been a
Hmm,
problem. Why?
yeah.
Apparently, that's a thing. So, oop.
And then the other thing too is that it's a live service game. And I personally am not a huge other than Fortnite, I'm not really a huge fan of live service games, particularly
Okay,
because content
can I
goes
ask you
in and
this?
content goes out. Well, let me finish my
Can I?
thought real quick.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
go ahead, go ahead.
like with the skins, like again, if this would come to a modern Mario Kart, like the skins would be there permanently. Like you would always, at some point in time, you will be able to buy all the skins, right? Or another example, it's gotcha, so you can't actually get everything that
Was
you want to.
was
Was,
was.
and then
Don't defame it, please.
unfortunately,
It
the game
it's
is
a former
technically
gotcha game.
over. And there's no more new content, and not all the content is stagnant. They didn't release like an Animal Crossing Pocket Camp Gold edition of this game, where all of
I
the
wish they
things
did.
that
I
were
would pay for
exclusive
that.
to this game are
Oh,
playable. Mario Run, it's an offline game as well. You can play every single one of the levels that it created, and you're
so
able
is
to move
Tor.
on with your life. Tor,
There's an online mode.
no, I'm saying like it's
Uh,
it's it's a complete, fully packaged game, and you can't like even right now,
no.
even though the servers are still up, the game is over, and you can't go back to and like play. And unfortunately, a lot of those problems have been fixed with the booster course path. But there's still one track that is not in 8 Deluxe and is
Don't
not
remind me.
currently in Tor either.
Don't remind me.
Again, two of the
Pipeline, I miss
biggest
you.
issues. And so, what was
Well,
your question?
I was gonna say, because you say no live service, but what if they like occasionally like in the next game, like let's say they do have the item shop with all the costumes, whatever. What if like every certain period of time they add new ones to the shop as like an update that you can buy?
Yes.
Like
So that
that'd be
is
a good way
different.
to
That
keep
is a
content
good because
going.
that's I'm saying more like I hate the Fortnite item shop, for example.
Yeah.
That is terrible because items come and go, and you'll never ever get the arcane skins ever again. Um, and on the other side of the spectrum, Call of Duty. And this is a weird thing that they do. Every time a new skin comes out, it's permanently in the shop. And so you can go back all the way to when they started this in Modern Warfare Remastered 1 or Remake 1, and you can still buy all the skins that they ever released for that game. Now, you can't play it in Black Ops 6, but they're all available, unlike the Fortnite shop, which constantly rotates.
I mean,
So,
yeah,
in the
but if
case
they did
of
every
this,
single thing in once, it'd be way too many items to
well,
scroll
yeah,
through.
yeah, but they
You
have
can't.
to at least promise that they would come back at some time. And
That's
so,
true.
in the case of Mario Kart, we're thinking like, oh yeah, they'll somehow find a way to permanently add them, and more than likely with Tor, they probably won't. Dr. Mario World at this point lost media,
I like that one. I'm so sad it's
Oh
gone.
God, yeah. I'm
so
sad. I'm. See,
I
this
want
one I'm
my
at
three
least
Goombas
glad.
in a trench coat.
as far as I'm concerned, Piranha Plant Slide has lost media.
Or pipeline?
Pipeline.
Not really. Well, see, that follows the whole thing I said of the reason I think they haven't actually ended it, like with Dr. Mario World is they're clearly still using it for something, and I think Pipeline will be in the next game. I'm
Oh
very
yeah, it
confident
will
they'll bring it
eventually.
back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's lost media for now, except for what, September when it comes back, or
Yeah.
August when they did the original tour.
Yeah.
But for me personally, just the amount of content, I've played it all 4 years of its life. It was great from start to end, from day one to the end. I was there, and it was one of the best periods of my life. It brought me so much joy. It was nice because sometimes when I was out and about, whatever, I could just open it up, play it. It was like a time waster. The gotcha mechanic I didn't care for, but it definitely was better after when they removed it. Now the only gotcha that's there is like free. Like all the pipes you get
Mhm.
are free now. Like anybody can get them.
Mhm.
And now it's all a Ruby shop, which is much better. It definitely got better in its last like year of its life, for sure. Like if you look at it just that, I mean I'd rank it the same either way, but if you look at it just that, it's peak. And so many characters, King Bob-omb, freaking Poochie,
Yes.
Poochie of all things,
Yes.
Nabbit.
Nabbit.
Oh,
Captain.
they have the Super Mario Kart sprite for Donkey
Did
Kong Jr.
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
and Mario.
SNES Mario and
Yeah.
Donkey Kong Jr. Donkey Kong Jr. came back.
Yeah.
Like
And
that.
they
That
It's
alone is.
insane.
I mean, they had a lot of pretty mediocre Nitro tracks, but they also had like
And
remix tracks and
oh
or
yeah, those are
reverse
cool.
tracks and trick tracks.
I hope reverse tracks come back in the next thing. I don't say trick because in a game, the only reason towards the trick ones is for combos. Like they're good for getting
I
combos.
think
I don't know if we need them next game.
so.
But reverse tracks,
Remember
yes.
the frenzy mode that I mentioned before. What if it was just more of like a score attack mode, and
Oh,
they
then
had
yeah,
ported over the trick tracks?
the T and RT tracks could be
Yeah.
exclusive to that. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, the retro tracks, it continued the thing Mario Kart 8 did of like revamping the GBA retro, especially like those were really good. Uh, all the new tracks being having a theme, by the way, for Nitro tracks.
Mm.
I love like having them, most of the
Mhm.
nitros based on real cities. I think was really
I
amazing,
mean,
and
that
you
was the
got some.
whole
Yes.
tour thing. That was.
Yeah, but they surprised us when Mary Mountain was revealed. Like they gave us original Ninja
Mm.
Hideaway, Piranha Plant Pipeline, Piranha Plant Cove, the other Piranha Plant Course, which is also really good.
Mm.
Yeah, I just think they went crazy, and I think they're keeping it up for a reason. I think they didn't shut it down because they're clearly using it for probably the next game or something. Otherwise, they would have just said, "Nah, we don't need it."
So where should
um,
we put this on the overall? Because I know
this is
you want to put it in S tier, and somehow
this is
Omar
S
put it
tier
in
for
A
me.
tier. You never really explained why you like it, to be honest.
Uh, It was really fun. I heavily enjoyed
Oh,
my time with it. I mean, what
and
else can
yeah,
I
I
say?
didn't.
It was just
oh
it was
yeah,
just really fun.
and
And
like
I
you said,
love the cake collection.
like you said, the mission mode also came back, which was fun. They also brought back special items, introducing even a bunch
Again,
of new
like I said,
ones.
it brings a lot of really good and cool ideas to the table.
Yeah,
Again, this was post Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. We forget this, and again, Mario Kart X would be the next game to follow.
I'm
With what I
and
would assume would have all these
yeah.
quality of life features added.
I mean, what
So
this game came out late 2019. I wasn't really playing 8 Deluxe at the time because I think I had just gotten burnt out.
mhm.
So part of the reason I love it so much is it gave me something fresh and new to play, and it was late 2019, which means half of this game's life was the pandemic, and it really helped me in
Yeah.
that time, especially like getting constant new Minecraft stuff in the middle of a pandemic was really like something. I don't know how the dev team. I don't know if they were working from home. It was a small team, anyways, but just getting new content during that time was nice. Just it means a lot to me. I have it in S because when 8 Deluxe, when I was bored of that, this was my new game that I had to play for a
All
while.
right. To compensate, we'll just put it below 7 in A
You
tier.
would know my Twitter count from 2019 to freaking
Yeah.
2021 was insane.
Yeah. So here's the other thing too. When we get, I usually at the end of the videos, I'm like, like this is the definitive tier list, and you can't argue against it. Well, actually, you may have a chance to argue against this one. All right. So let's move on to 4 and go back to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. This is particularly the booster course path, which includes all of the new and retro tracks that they added, including 99.9% of the tour tracks, and a couple of new characters.
0.9%.
Personally, I think that a lot of the track selection it could have been a little bit better, but I think we're gonna save those for 10. But this is the best Mario Kart package now, post
Yeah,
post booster
Yeah.
like
course pass. If
Yeah.
we're
no,
looking at this as a whole now, It has an infinitely better character selection, has an infinitely better track selection, even better
Yeah.
than 7 now, in my opinion. And it is the best playing Mario Kart, and it has all the tour tracks, which technically doesn't make them lost media anymore. So,
At least, except Pipeline for now.
except for Pipeline.
For
So,
now. I say for now,
personally,
'cause I
this
have
is
hope.
very, very top of S tier for me. Although I can't
I
play
would-
it right now because I am
Yeah.
burnt the
Yeah,
fuck
okay.
out.
I was
But
gonna say S tier.
The Booster Course Pass is almost like its own game put into another game. It even
Yeah.
got its own credits theme, which actually made me cry, by the way.
it's like
Yeah.
No Man's
I
Sky.
teared up.
This is the No
I
Man's
teared
Sky
up
for
at that
Mario
end credits
Kart 8
scene.
Deluxe for me.
What's the context there? I don't know.
Like No Man's Sky released in a very, very shitty state. Think Cyberpunk in more recent times.
Oh.
And they added an update that pretty much completely revamped the game.
Yeah.
And if you look at that game then and the game now, it is a completely different game.
That's true, yeah. Like 8 Deluxe with Booster Course Pass is not even 8 Deluxe. It's like
It's not even 8
8.5.
anymore because it's like
micro
8.
8.5.
Yeah. Because remember,
8.5,
Deluxe
yeah,
was
I know.
already supposed to be that fix for 8.
Yeah.
So
And like not even mentioning, well, for one, the character selection we got was pretty good. We got Birdo, classic character, should return. Wiggler, which was a surprise. Petey Piranha after
Petey, thank
besides
God.
outside of Tor, his first appearance on like a big major game. Kamek from Tor.
or
finally
Kamek.
being legit in Mario Kart 8 because he was supposed to be in the original.
Yeah, he was supposed to be
And
in the
then
original 8. Yeah.
Diddy and Funky and Pauline
Funky.
and Peachette.
Funky and Pauline are just
Okay.
like, that's it. Like, you're done. You cooked.
The fact
know. Where
they
is
knew
King of the Bomb?
they knew what they were doing though.
Next
saving
game.
Funky. They knew what they were doing, saving Funky and Pauline for the last wave.
Yeah, for sure.
They,
I mean,
they knew
that, I
They
mean,
knew they were gonna be the most hyped.
that, like, obviously, like, the last one, we're like, okay, what are the next 2 characters? And it's like, no,
They gave us
we're at
4.
4.
Yeah.
So, again,
like,
a lot of people are still mad that the last one that they showed is Peachette, but, like, I'm fine with it because we got the 2 that we needed. We needed
Yeah.
Pauline and we needed Funky. Those were the 2 that we needed.
Yeah.
So, and
yeah,
then
I
starting
think-
with Birdo too. That's so weird.
Yeah, but I get it because Yoshi's Island was added that way,
Yeah.
and Yoshi and
Yeah.
Birdo usually,
Oh,
yeah,
that
they
is
want
such
to.
a good stage when I.
But
played it,
I think the best track in the DLC, I think, or one of the best.
Oh,
I think that's why they started with Birdo though, because they probably knew she'd be like the least hyped out of all of them.
I completely forgot about this, but we were getting new tracks during this too. Like Yoshi's
Oh,
Island
yeah.
was revealed for this first before it came to
Uh-huh.
Tor. And yes,
It's
it was
technically
technically
a Tor
built
track,
for
but-
Tor and it was like
Yeah.
a retro Tor track if you want to say that, but this was like new as it was coming out, which
I
was still
think, yeah,
crazy.
I personally think in future games, if those come back, they'll have the Tor label. But I think for the DLC, they wanted to market it as new because even Ninja
Yeah.
Hideaway did
Yeah.
Tor first.
Any
So I think they
any
wanted to-
track that was not a city track wasn't labeled Tor.
Yeah, I think
So-
going forward though, it would be called like Tor Ninja Hideaway or Tor Murray Mountain.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, we got those. It was cool for me. Just finally, I was very happy to see people get to experience the Tor tracks.
Mhm.
That for me,
Yeah.
that's something I hold dear to my heart. Seeing my friends enjoying them and playing them. I know not all the
Yeah.
Tor tracks are liked, but like ones like Vancouver Velocity,
Yeah,
like Sydney Sprint, like just seeing
The
people enjoy
music
them made me
in
happy.
Sydney
Oh,
Sprint?
the Tor
oh,
tracks.
yes, getting live remixes of all the Tor
Yeah.
Nitro
Yeah.
songs. Oh, my God,
Yeah.
that Sydney Sprint remix, man. The
I-
Berlin
So
Byways
good.
one. Oh,
I personally didn't
Berlin
care
Byways.
too much for the. I know people complain about the graphics and stuff, but I personally didn't care about that.
yeah.
I think it
Yeah,
was more
that
of a double-edged sword for like what tracks we were getting because again I got all most of my hopes answered with the retro tracks,
Yeah.
and then just purely having the tour tracks was good. But what was cool about the tour tracks is that unfortunately they're kind of bland, all things considered, especially compared to the other tracks.
Mhm.
But they have something that sticks out than the other tracks, and that's the multi-path. And that was
Yes.
even
Yeah.
if it's not like the most unique thing, it is definitely the most
Like-
sorry, even if it's not the most cool thing, it is the most unique thing and lets the track
This-
stand out.
Listen,
That's
Sorry.
that's
you-
why.
you-
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Omar.
No, yeah, I was just gonna say, like, yeah, you driving down the road and seeing the people behind you drive past you, that's just
Yeah.
a cute little thing. I just really like that.
Yeah.
Look, I will say the one thing that annoyed me was when people being like, I always get confused. It's like, look, if you haven't learned the track by now, that's a skill issue, okay? You
Yeah.
learn them over time. But it is fun the first time you play them because you get confused and then eventually you learn it and then you.
That was the raw
But
reaction. It's like
this-
nowadays, like people, if you're gonna watch Mario Kart 8 content, you're watching a skilled player play online. But back in the day, like this was like almost the first time in the modern like live streaming era where people were able to react to new tracks as they were coming out. And so
That's
even
true.
even with the tour
Mhm.
tracks have been out for like a few years, like a lot of mainstream people never really
And
played tour, and so they're like, what the fuck
yeah,
is you gonna go? And
it's
so
like
you know,
even though
2 years
DLC was
on, you should know how the tracks are laid out.
E-
Like,
even though they said that DLC was all retro, for a lot of people, half of it was new tracks because they
yeah,
never played. Like for me, it was all retro because I've played all those tour tracks. So for me, playing them in 8
Mhm.
was like, whoa, it's bigger and it's in HD now.
Yeah.
But like
I
it
will
was like,
say, the
and
size
it's
scaling.
all in one.
The size
Um,
scaling in Mario Kart is hilarious. Like
not
when you slow down and just like go by a toad, and
yeah.
like they're massive compared to you. It's so funny.
I get it.
Yeah.
Like if they came back in a new game, those shy guys would definitely be made accurate size. But
Uh-huh.
also, it's cool because that mechanic with the tracks also went to Piranha Plant Cove. It's the only non-city track to have it, but Calamari Desert got it too.
Oh
An
yeah,
old
that was a weird
classic.
one too. That was
Like
interesting.
they merged it with Calamari. Oh, and Peach Gardens got it. I forgot that too.
Yeah,
Lap 3 of
yeah.
Peach Gardens. Like 2 old retro
That was
tracks
awesome
actually
too,
got
just
like.
shaking it up for that.
Mhm.
That's why I consider the Boost Course Pass kind of almost its own separate thing because it introduced a new course mechanic.
Yeah.
It's like you had what we had the half pipes. 7 had.
Oh, they brought the half pipes back too.
Yeah.
And yeah, and those,
Like,
those came back.
it's
Those came back in
everything.
BCP. All like, imagine DK
Everything is
Summit.
here.
Imagine they didn't come back, and imagine DK Summit without the half pipes. Oh my
Yeah,
god,
it wouldn't
it'd be
even
so
work.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, like thank God.
Although they don't
But
work
like,
as well as I would want them to, but that's probably because 8 wasn't built for it.
yeah,
So,
but also people also actually love the goofy physics of them because you can do really funny things.
yeah. Well, like for
Um,
example, technically Rainbow Road has a half pipe. Well, I mean other than the middle part, but like when you
yeah,
go at the very end, it has like a weird like U-turn. You can actually skip it and like not even
yeah.
go through the like you can
D-
just
DK Summit, DK Summit on the end, you can just stick to the wall and like you can just go really fast toward the
yeah.
finish line. Like that's what competitive players do. They'll literally just like it's kind of OP.
Yeah.
I was gonna say yeah, that's why I consider it a new thing because 8 had the half pipes. 7 whole new course mechanic was like having section tracks that could
Yeah.
be like one start to finish, which 8 and Tor also brought back.
Yeah,
But
and actually
like
thinking about it too, that's kind of what they did with 8 because they made the 64 Rainbow Road a section track, and now they're just
yeah,
adding tour mechanics to retro tracks. So it's like,
and I was surprised and I was happy because one Tor track did do that because LA Laps did that. Because
yeah,
in Tor, all 3 of its versions start in like completely separate areas. There's no way they'd be able to make it one loop. So
yeah,
LA Laps is just start to finish, which is why it's one of my favorite cities in that game.
yeah. So even
I
even
think
if even for you that as someone that has played Paris Promenade, but you haven't played it in that way because it's
yeah,
completely
like
different.
that first time playing it, I was not expecting to go backwards. That like threw me
Hmm.
off that first time. I was like,
Mhm.
we're in like Paris Promenade like 2, I think it's 2R. Like it's the
Yeah,
R variant in the track. Like it's kind of
I
cool.
do like that they like combined all the different variants into one. That was
yeah,
so cool.
I remember when people saw like Tokyo Blur in the trailer, the original trailer, people were like, "So which version is it gonna be?"
All of
Like
yeah.
them.
I'm not
All of them.
even with
All of them.
even with Paris, because people assumed that maybe they would just do the first variant, like it would just be
Mhm.
Paris 1, Tokyo 1, Berlin 1. Nope, it's all of them.
Yeah.
It's the everyone is here of Mario Kart.
Yep.
Exactly.
Of
Everyone
Mario
is here
Kart
except
mechanics
Luigi's Mansion.
and Airship
And yeah,
Fortress
And it's
and
just for-
not also to talk about the
and
free
King Bob.
stuff, also to talk about the free stuff that non DLC owners got, like more
Oh,
me outfits.
more me outfits. That was
Yeah.
a shit ton of me outfits
Oh,
too.
like, crazy.
It's not. I wish they did all of them from Tor, but that's about half of the ones from Tor they added.
They
Um,
added custom
there was
items.
the jukebox, yeah, custom.
Oh,
items was
jukebox! I
fun.
forgot about
Oh
that.
yeah.
It's Nintendo actually letting us appreciate their music for once.
And something crazy too is that I didn't even realize that they didn't have credits until the very end, and I was like,
yeah, the
oh, they're not
credits
gonna do.
too.
Why would they need credits? But they added it, and it was like it was a new song. It was a completely
I
unique song.
I
Mhm.
I that moment meant so much to me. I cried because not only was it a credits like I had hoped, but it was a Mario Kart Tour medley. It was a
Yeah.
medley of different Nitro track songs from Tour, and by the end of it, I was tearing up because
At the
I
very
thought
end of
about
it, and I was like, they might be ending tour, and you're like, no, no, it's gonna go on
no,
for
yeah,
another 8,000 years.
no, I heard the music and I had a feeling it was gonna be not only credits for 8 Deluxe, but it would also serve as credits for Tour. That would be the
Yeah.
send off for both games, and it made me cry because when those credits were rolling, I was thinking of all the memories I made playing Tour, and I was like, man, 4 years that game was in my. What the heck?
Yeah.
It was kind of. Oh, and then also it was a partial remix of the original Super Mario Kart credits music, which was also kind
Yeah.
of cool. So way to bring it back to where it all started as well. So it's
Yeah.
kind of
And
it was
that's
Super Mario Kart
why
and Tour.
post Booster Course Pass, I didn't like 8 before, but now it is literally the greatest Mario Kart
Oh
that we
hey, and
have.
Villager, the
Yeah.
two Villagers and Inklings don't take up separate slots on the roster anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I remember the people were like, how are they gonna fit 2 more characters? That's how, because what is it, like Pauline and Peachette are just down where like the
Yeah.
separate Villager and Inkling used to be. Like that's how they did it. Even though it looks weird that they're done with the collab characters, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's just
It's
more
the
like the
best.
DLC is over here.
Yeah, it's the best they could do to fit them, but they did it. And yeah, all the Mii costumes, like, oh, and they actually did mechanical changes. Nobody expected them to change how the game plays. Like, Waluigi Wild Wiggler isn't even the OP combo anymore.
Yeah, they did. They made
It,
regular patches.
I think it's like
So
Yeah.
Yoshi. It's like Yoshi. I think Yoshi's the best character now, which I.
yeah.
It's like Yoshi on the. I forget what it is. It's one of the bikes, I think. But
You're like our
yeah,
own little Yoshiller Junior.
they made. I think they made coins a little less frequent at some point during it. They changed how some of the items work. They did go back and change some courses, like Coconut Mall. They made the cars move, and
Mhm.
in Wave 2. Yeah, that was interesting. They made buffs and nerfs to certain stats. Like nobody expected them to do that. Like you didn't have to change how the game plays, but they
Yeah.
did.
All right. I think we
And
should.
there's some other minor ones, but
Yeah.
that was it.
We probably should wrap it up here pretty soon because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
believe
yeah.
it's the end of all of
But
our times. But there
Booster
is
Course Pass
one.
is S. S
Yes,
tier
there is one
as well.
more that we have to rank because we covered all of the spin-offs, and that is Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge. And
It's
I
like
am the only one that can actually say anything on this, I believe.
I played it.
Oh, okay.
I was there, yeah.
Yes,
I remember.
okay.
Don't you remember? Like I was at Super Nintendo World, and then like you went like a few weeks after. Me
Oh,
after I
no
had already
way.
left.
I remember
Yeah.
that, yeah. It was all
Uh,
of us. It was, well, except for Matt. We invited him,
I
but
I
uh-huh.
haven't been there yet. One day I'll get to.
but yeah, no. So this thing is really cool. I think honestly the best part about it is the line getting up there because there's so
Honestly,
many little references.
I was in that line for like 2 hours, but it was so visually interesting that I
Yeah.
didn't even notice.
It's
It was so cool.
it was literally like the Mario movie. It's like it's not peak cinema, not even close to
Yeah.
like Sonic 3, but like it's just purely eye candy. And so
Exactly.
then once you actually get there, like there's a point where I was like, "Oh, are we getting on the ride?" But no, it was just like they wanted you to have fun while you were waiting
I
in
know, I
line.
took so many
Yeah,
pictures
I've
of
seen
the line
the-
because everything was just so much fun to look at.
I've
Yeah.
seen videos of the. Have fun. And isn't
Yeah.
there like a whole story behind it too? Like
Yeah,
isn't there,
there's
like,
lore. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
There's
also a lot of like
lore.
Mario Kart and other Mario, like there's like I think there's like a Gateway Galaxy planet floating in there, and
Oh.
like Bowser
Oh,
just
I've
stole
heard-
a
Yeah.
bunch of the
Yeah,
stuff.
I've heard the
Yes.
soundtrack. People have posted the soundtrack.
Yes,
online,
there's
like the songs like
even
that.
like unique music. Like this is like a game. This is a full
there's,
game.
There's unique music, but they remixed some other Mario Kart songs.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I think one of them was like
God.
I think one of them was like the circuit music from Mario Kart Wii or something like that.
Yeah,
like, I was
like-
oh my god.
I believe when
like-
you get to sit on a car in a cart, it plays the Mario Kart Wii select music.
Yes, I heard-
Oh wait, no, that's Mario
that's
Kart 8.
the
The
one-
other one.
the
They play the
down,
Wii one. They do play the
down.
Wii one. I'm pretty sure.
It's like the down.
Yeah, yeah, that one. Yeah, sorry, my bad. My bad. Fake fan here.
By the way, my favorite menu music of any Mario Kart game. By the way,
And
the
they
Wii
they
Act
technically
menu music are so
7 is a
iconic.
remake to 7.
that's true.
But yeah, it's a completely remade song. They have a bunch of remixes, a bunch of new songs as well. Technically, if you want to, this is an extension of Mario Kart 8 because it's technically
Yeah.
a cup in itself, and it basically has a bunch of tracks from 8 and retro. I think actually, I think it's just retro tracks. Now that I think about it, because at the
What,
very
for the
end,
songs?
no. So when you go through it, you go through different tracks as you go
Oh,
along in the.
Yeah.
And at the very end, you're on 64 Rainbow Road, which I was surprised by because I would think, oh, they want to do 8's
oh,
Rainbow Road, but it was
that's gonna be
64's.
so good. That's gonna be so good.
Let me actually look this up. 'Cause I want to make sure.
Also, if actually, I'll go, while you're doing that, I actually will say if I could have changed one thing about the Booster Course Pass, even though we got characters in the second half, one thing I would have added in that second half was getting some costumes from Tour.
I forgot how fucking peak this was. N64 Royal Raceway, GBA Mario
Yes.
Circuit, 3DS Piranha Plant
Uh-huh.
Slide, Dolphin Shoals,
Oh,
Twitched
oh,
Mansion,
dang.
Cloud Top Cruise, which
There are some
included
new ones.
it includes the fucking Galaxy music, by the way.
Oh god.
We Grumble Volcano, and most
Ooh.
notably Rainbow Road from 64.
Nice. You know what? Okay, they got Royal Raceway. It's peak.
Yeah.
They got Royal Raceway. It's
So now, actually, in terms of the ride itself, you get in. It's not really like a crazy roller coaster like DK Land is going to be.
it's a family ride. They
Yeah,
wanna make it fun for
it is.
kids and
It's
adults.
more like I don't know if
Yeah.
you guys been to Disney World, but there's like a Ratatouille ride. It's pretty much mostly flat. Or if you've been to Disneyland more recently, it's more like
I've been
the Galaxy's
Autopia?
Edge ride where Kylo Ren just comes out and like almost grabs you.
Oh yeah.
So it's pretty much flat and it's mostly about like
And
what you're seeing and a
it's
lot
also
of
cool that you can get like shells and hit the person in front
yeah.
of you, and the
So
whole thing will stop.
yeah,
The whole thing will
so
stop.
you can't. I don't think you actually shoot other people, but you get a AR headset
Yeah.
and you're able to see
Yeah.
Mario Kart characters around you, and your goal is to get to first place. So you're able to throw Koopa shells and bananas out at the fictional characters. You can't throw out in
Yeah.
terms of the person in front of
So
you.
fun.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but their car does stop though. So it's
I don't
it's-
remember
Or does it?
specifically.
I don't know.
Can you back me up on this? Am I?
Yeah,
Am I tripping?
remember it's fun. Yeah.
But yeah,
I
but
thought
it's
that
like
was a-
literally playing Mario Kart. It's the closest we'll get to
It is.
VR, honestly.
Hey,
Like,
look, yeah, I was gonna say they
Besides
kind of
the VR game?
yeah,
they kind of revived RKGP VR and Live a little there with
Yeah.
the AR VR stuff. Like there you go, they're utilizing that.
yeah, you definitely have to go at some point. But this isn't the only Nintendo World ride technically, and I'm not talking about Donkey
Yeah.
Kong. In Japan, they have a different one called like Yoshi's Adventure or something like that.
Uh-huh.
I
And
want
they're
that in America, please.
On
please,
top
America.
of Koopa's Challenge, which is what they call it in Japan.
Mhm.
So
I'm excited to see how the theme park evolves. I bet Zelda's next after Donkey
yeah,
Kong.
Zelda.
I was,
Yeah, so Zelda was confirmed to be next. Unfortunately, Hollywood won't be able to get this Donkey Kong expansion because there's no room.
Oh man.
And so
That sucks.
Orlando is the only one that's going to be getting these expansions because they have like
Good.
infinite space over there, and obviously
so
Japan.
The Hollywood one is. So the Hollywood one's just Mario. Then?
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately,
That
even
sucks.
though they have the door where it should be, like where Orlando has it, there's literally a door with a bunch of like Donkey Kong iconography, as if the door would
Dang.
open into Donkey Kong Land, but it won't because there's
mean,
there's a
that's hard.
giant building there.
I mean, it's hard because they have to buy land every time they do that.
Well, not
so,
only
like,
that, but
yeah.
where Super Nintendo is currently is between two studios, two actual buildings.
'Cause
So
it's
like
at
you can't really
Universal.
expand out. Yeah, you can't really expand out in that way. That's why there's two tiers to the park because it's built on a hill. So
Oh yeah. Well, good to know if I go to the Orlando one. Then.
like I would think like, oh yeah, let's
That'll
maybe
be-
get rid of
that'll
like
be
the
better.
Simpsons ride. I don't know. It's something I'm just
No,
thinking like
I
random.
love the
Oh, I
Simpsons
know,
ride.
but I'm just saying like
Fun.
even if they did
Not the
that, there's not
Simpsons
really like
ride.
a way to because of where Nintendo World is, they would
Yeah.
have to move it in order to expand it.
You want to know
So
what's crazy? I'm realizing at the Orlando one, you're gonna have Peach's Castle, Hyrule Castle, and Hogwarts Castle all in the same spot.
mhm.
What is reality? Harry Potter
Yep.
Castle with Zelda and Peach.
Yeah, that's the
That
other
looks
thing
so
too.
cool.
Actually, I think currently the Orlando, so I believe they're doing an entirely new park for where Super Nintendo World's going to be, which makes
Oh.
4 parks. They have Universal Studios, they have Islands, which was just like an expansion, and then they have the water park, and then they'll have this new one that they're
Mhm.
just recently opening with Super Nintendo World. And there's
Isn't
going to
Harry
be
Potter kind of
another.
its own one too?
No, so Harry Potter's a part of Universal Studios. So they have like the I don't if you don't know Harry Potter, there's like a weird like hallway that you can go through, and it's like
Oh yeah,
and
I've
then
been
there's
there. I've been to the one in Hollywood.
so no. So in Orlando,
No.
they have an additional section where it's just like
Oh.
the bank. Do you remember the bank from Harry Potter with all
Oh, I
the
know what you're talking
yeah?
about.
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
that area, and then they have Hogsmeade, which is the actual school, right? Or
Oh, that's
Hogwarts, I
cool.
guess. And so there's like two separate areas there, and then in the other park, this new park that they're adding is in another new Harry Potter land, which is right next
Wow.
to Super Nintendo World.
But
So
I just love. You'll be able to look in one direction and see Hogwarts, Peach's Castle, Hyrule Castle.
yeah.
The
So
only, the only, the only Nintendo and Harry Potter collab.
the thing I can compare it most to is Disney's Epcot, because Epcot has like that first entrance area, and then it's a bunch of areas around a sort of water feature, and it's like
Yeah.
journey around the world type thing. And so that's like the closest thing I can picture is like there'll be different doors to different dimensions, basically.
I hope they do a Yoshi's Island section at some point. I'd love.
I unfortunately Yoshi's Island is in Super Nintendo World
Yeah.
already.
I guess yeah.
So,
I guess yeah.
Unfortunately,
I'm always trying to think. I'm always trying to think like what's after Zelda. Like,
that's
Splatoon,
that's
Animal
what
Crossing.
So
Animal Crossing.
Pokemon is currently working on a way they're always finding new ways to bring Pokemon to real life. That's why they added all those AR features to Go. That's why they created Go. But they're trying their best to blur the lines. That's why they recently like 2 years ago like completely changed their I'm talking about TPCI, like not Game Freak, like the big Pokemon company that Nintendo has a stake in but they don't own. They changed their website and they made like a new slogan or something like that. And it was like bringing Pokemon to real life, basically. And so they have like their own separate project,
Yeah.
which I don't know if it'll be like a theme park or like what it'll
Oh
be,
yeah.
like an
But
experience.
even though Nintendo doesn't like 100% own Pokemon, I still think it'd be cool if they could partner with them to have
Yeah, I think there's a
yeah.
few
park at
Pokemon.
Nintendo.
I think
want a Pokemon
eventually they'll
theme
start
park.
selling Pokemon stuff there, which I think they already do
the
because
top three
Universal
like,
already
franchises
had a deal with Pokemon, I
Oh,
think,
yeah.
at some
for,
point.
like the top three like franchises for Nintendo are literally Mario, Pokemon, Zelda. Like
Yeah.
Mhm.
and you know what's crazy is Zelda's actually second. It's higher than Zelda. Well, Pokemon's
Yeah.
also like huge media franchise. Also, maybe we'll get Kirby at some point after that. Who knows? Kirby would be
Maybe.
nice.
Again, we're thinking about space too. Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
they're gonna
Zelda
do
is
the
100%
space.
next
We're gonna
for
Sonic
sure.
Colors
Oh,
this.
space. Oh, space. So you want to do Metroid then?
What is it? Eggman Land in space?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god. Which they
Or-
actually
or-
reference
or-
in Sonic 3 as well.
Or
Technically.
they'll do Metroid. Or they'll do Metroid.
Oh god, a Metroid Land? That would be crazy.
Dang.
Just Emmys chasing you around. All right, we lost Matt again, chat.
Man.
Oh no.
Okay.
Dang it. Wait,
All
oh,
right,
my bad.
where should we put Bowser's Challenge?
I would put it S tier, honestly.
I'm saying
S tier?
A just because it sounds
Listen,
peak. I've never
just
really ridden
saying.
it.
Like,
Yeah,
the
I would
emotions
put
at
it top
the
of
emotions-
A,
The
but
emotions I felt were undescribable. When I first entered Nintendo Land, I literally started crying. It was
Like,
too much for me.
when
For
I
that
probably
reason alone.
will.
And,
I
and
probably
the ride
will
alone was
too.
so much fun.
yeah.
I probably will too. Like when Nintendo's your whole life, it's
Yeah,
like
I know. Like
how can you
it felt so
not?
unreal to me. I just started bawling.
I was like so scared to like crash
probably
out
will,
when I
too.
was going there because like you're a grown ass man. Like I walked in there and it was just like like
well,
the moment I walked through the warp pipe, I wasn't even in the land yet. Like
Uh-huh.
you enter in and there's Bob on Battlefield. I'm like,
I know. It hit me so hard.
there's an actual Bob on Battlefield.
No,
No,
like the
no.
painting and it like moves. I
Oh
think too.
yeah. Also, I imagine like Omar. I imagine all the music playing, like all the songs they made
Yes, and
playing
it's
probably
like
doesn't help.
a lot of it is from
I
like
know,
New
it
Soup
was
and
so
3D
good.
World, but they're completely orchestrated, and it's like
Yeah.
it's crazy.
I know. I want something at some point. They should add like have someone go around, like hire someone to dress as Pauline and sing "Jump Up Superstar" and break free lead the way. That'd be so
So,
cool. Have like a show.
Actually,
Have,
bump down the Mario Kart ride from S to A
yeah.
because a week after I left, they brought in the Toad mascot.
Yes,
You
I
get to see it.
know.
I am so angry about
I
that.
I only got to see Mario and Luigi. I didn't take a picture with them, but I was only able to see them. And
A week after I
unfortunately,
left, it's like, hey, we have Toad now. Like,
all I
well,
want-
someone recently released a video like a few months ago. They're saying, "Hey Toad, can you do the dance?" And they're like, "Don't ask him to dance. Don't ask him to dance." And they
I
can't.
mean, like the
The
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, they can't do that. I mean, it's the same thing with the Squidward dab. They're like, dab Squidward. They can't.
Yeah.
all I want is to finally live out my childhood dream of getting a picture with Yoshi. That's all I want.
Maybe.
That's all I
Yeah.
want. From a kid, I've always thought
Honestly,
Yoshi was
I'm
real.
surprised they didn't have like the Legoland stuff where they just have models of the characters around the park because
Oh, that-
they didn't really do that. Because
Yeah,
at
you know,
Legoland they
It's
just
one
have.
thing I'm sad about is that I forgot about the hidden Pikmin while I was there, so I didn't even search for any.
Oh yeah, I did. I didn't find
Leave-
all of them, but I found some
Leave
of
it
them.
to Miyamoto. Leave it to Miyamoto.
Of course.
To hide
Of
Actually,
course,
you know,
I went with
Pikmin
Devin,
Land
so
might
like
have
he
the
loves
same thing.
Pikmin, so.
Yeah.
Although Miyamoto loves Pikmin so much, that might be one of the next lands they do.
I think so. In my personal headcanon, I think that Pikmin is a universe that is like okay. So I think all the Nintendo universes are connected. Personally, I think that Zelda and Mario just Zelda and Mario just happen simultaneously, like all the time. Like Zelda obviously happens over the course of many centuries, whereas Mario happens over the course of like maybe a few years. But there's like, why the fuck is there Goombas? Like, it doesn't make any sense. So whenever
Hey, they
Goombas would
Mario
exist. Yes, well, obviously there's the dream sequences in Link's Awakening, but they have to
I
be
was gonna say, like, why,
but they
why
have
is
to be
Link dreaming about
based on
Kirby and
something.
Forge?
Yeah. So like
And
there,
there's
well,
like a
War
Yoshi
is
plush.
War is
Yeah.
in the dream world. He exists in Subcon. Like that's already a thing, right? And then Pikmin, the way I see it is that Pikmin are aliens from space. Nothing to say that Pikmins just don't live in other planets, right? And the same thing in Super
they're
Nintendo world.
Metroid is
They're
very
in-
easy to explain. It's just a different.
It's in
planet.
space, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's in space.
And they have
See, well,
references
yeah,
in Pikmin and Chibi Robo of different Nintendo properties. So it's like,
Olimar's
where would they be getting this
Galaxy-
stuff from?
Olimar's ship.
Yeah, Olimar's ship.
His rocket ship of galaxies.
And
somewhere.
they almost.
Galaxy 2.
Oh
whichever one.
yes, it is. It's in Galaxy. I forgot about that.
So-
In junk
There you
space or whatever. And then there's also Mario and
Space
Luigi,
junk,
where there was supposed to be more references in Superstar Saga, where Wario and Olimar and
right.
Samus and Link were
This
supposed to
reminds me-
literally show up. So
In Mario RPG, you can find Link and Samus.
yeah, they just chilling. They just
game.
sleeping.
Yeah.
Like they
Just-
like it doesn't. It's not too out of place to say like, oh yeah, like
Then
two games could
Nintendo
have been happening
universe- the
simultaneously.
Nintendo universe quite literally is a universe. It all
Yeah.
exists in one simultaneous.
Now,
universe.
unfortunately, everyone's like, man, I can't wait for Mario and Sonic to cross over, and it's like you can't really do that unless you make Mario live action or like unless you just bring CGI Sonic into this cartoon world, and I feel like that just wouldn't work.
In the Mario universe, though, does that mean Sonic is canon since they went to the Olympic Games together?
Well, that
Yes.
also means that. Well, I mean, a lot of
Oh,
people
yeah,
are like,
that-
well, how is it possible that New Donk City? Well, New Donk City. They never said it was called New York City. It's New Donk City with a city, a town inside of New Donk City called Brooklyn. So there's nothing to say that there's real life locations that exist as well, right?
Mhm.
There's nothing to say that.
Dude, are you kidding me? They literally raced the real cities in Mario Kart Tour.
Exactly.
They exist.
The
They
same
exist.
cities
Paris is
from
real.
Mario and Sonic.
Oh, and what's that one game? Mario is missing. Had actual
my
people.
God.
George Washington was in that game. Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, so real history probably
canon of
happened.
Mario?
Yeah, like there's nothing. Yeah.
It's- Wait, does that mean Mario is part of the Axis powers if he's Italian in World War II?
Oh my God! Not. I don't think
This
he
is a
was
messed up
alive
topic
during
for a
that
video.
time. I don't think he was alive during. Again,
That's
like I
true.
said, the Zelda games,
Mario's missing his time traveling.
the
So
Zelda series takes place over the course of many centuries, versus the Mario games probably
yeah,
take place over a couple of years. Now there is still some time I mean, thinking about it, the longest span that we ever see in the Mario canon is when he's a baby and when he's old. That's it. So literally, the
true.
Mario series takes
There's
place
no such
during
thing
a
as a child in
lifetime.
Mario.
Yeah, it takes place during his lifetime, versus Zelda, it takes place over centuries and
Yeah,
reincarnation and da 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 da.
and
So
like the Yoshi's Island series is a prequel to the Mario
yeah, but
series,
he's a
technically
baby.
speaking.
Well, there is a child
Yeah,
Mario actually.
Baby.
The Mario that we see in Yoshi's Island is baby Mario. He's wearing a diaper. In
yeah.
the sports games, he's wearing overalls, and in Partners in Time, he's wearing overalls. So he's a toddler. He's aged a little bit.
Bro has experienced more than any toddler should have to experience.
How did we end up making
Yeah.
this stupid
I
thing
don't
2 hours as well? God damn it.
Well, we
Okay.
can cut a lot of that conversation we just.
Okay. All right.
No,
So
this is
let's.
vital
those out.
information. What are you talking?
Yeah, I'm leaving it in. I'm not. All right. Let's do a recap. All right. So S tier Booster Course Pass, Mario Kart DS, Mario Kart Wii. A tier Bowser's Challenge, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Mario Kart 8 Wii U, Mario Kart 7, Mario Kart Tour. B tier
Thank
Double
you.
Dash,
Okay.
C tier Home Circuit, excuse me, 64, GPDX, D tier GP2, GP1, F tier Super Circuit, Super, and then GPVR. Any uh objections, rejections, questions, comments, concerns?
As long as Tor is at least an A, I'm happy. So that's good.
So this is the definitive Mario Kart tier list, an update to our ranking video that we did 4 years ago, as well as the final video in our ranking series
For now.
until Mario Kart X comes out.
Next week.
Next
You know what?
week.
You know what? I hope there's 98 tracks in the game right off the bat.
No,
just so we
I
have to go through
quit.
that trouble.
I'm giving you the channel.
I'll do. I
We
could
still
do
need that tour
track
video.
ranking.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
could. I still could do those. Maybe Omar. Maybe me and you can do that. Actually, that could be fun.
I'm down.
That would be. We could. Because I wanted to rank all the tour tracks. Like,
Oh yeah.
in its own tier list, but he wouldn't do it because he hasn't like
Or
played
like
tour
all
enough
the
to really know.
tours. he was gonna rank every single tour.
Oh god, hey, that could be fun too. Maybe we could do that sometime, Omar. We can like skip
I
that
love
out.
that.
All
Yeah.
right. Well,
I think I'd have an easier time not doing it alone. Actually,
all right. Well, that's pretty much going to do it for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys like the Return of the King. Our friend Aurora, Omar, Hollow Time, whatever you want to call him. Where can we find you?
Well, I am on Blue Sky now at Aurora Star. That's really only. I do have Instagram. I believe my Instagram is still Nintendo987.
Nintendo. Yeah.
Still have
I was,
Still have.
I was
Still
gonna
have
say I've
update
been there
that.
since he was Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does art now, so if you want to commission him,
Yes. Yeah. Give me your money.
give us your money and then give him your money. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this. Sorry it took way longer than so we should start expecting that these videos are gonna take
Yeah,
this
I
long.
guess.
We're always
Um,
like, okay, don't be too long, and then it ends up being longer than.
Yeah,
we
I don't know if
thought.
you saw, but we are doing shorts now, and we have some from your video way
Yeah.
back when. So
Ooh.
We might. I was telling. I think it was before we started recording that if when Mario Kart 10X whatever comes out and we like play it, we might just do a short adding it to our tier list.
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Ranking it?
the game in particular, but we still have to do
So
the battle
that way you don't have-
courses and
Yeah,
the
but
tracks and the cups.
but for that one, we'll just add the game to the tier list, so you don't have to watch like a whole like 2 hour long video updating the tier list. And then if
Yeah.
it gets DLC, we can just update it according to DLC,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
I honestly think we should wait a little bit because I feel like they would announce
Of course,
like
yeah.
with Mario Kart or like with Smash, they just announced the DLC right away.
Yeah.
So
They'll
I hope
probably
they do that.
with Mario Kart, because Mario Kart's Mario Kart 8. Well, Mario Kart 8's DLC took a few months till they announced it, but yeah, they'll probably announce it right off the bat this time, I imagine.
Yeah.
Be like, oh yeah, here's the game, and by the way, it's gonna have like 2 giant content packs or something.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you guys for going on along with this crazy long journey that took us a year and a half, 2 years to do. So we appreciate you sticking around. Probably never even
Been a
watch
wild
these
ride.
videos. But we appreciate you nonetheless. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Use our code CrazyCap for 10% off your order if you order on Dubby, or use the link in the description below. It'll automatically apply the code. You can also find us on Patreon, where you can donate at least the $1 tier and you can get exclusive content. You can also find us on Twitter, X, Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, anywhere that you are, we probably are too. Except for what was that?
TikTok.
Well, we're on TikTok too. Yeah. So anywhere that is a popular social media site, we're on there. We don't post a whole lot in terms of like regular posts, but we do post
I
every
think
single time that we
I think
release
we're
a new
all active
video.
on different things.
Yeah.
We're all
So
more
we
active
we
on different
release
platforms, I think.
we release new videos as they come out, obviously, and also what's it called? Like all the shorts we release on those platforms too, but
Yeah,
we're not
especially
like
on
we don't like
TikTok.
actually tweet a whole lot. We don't have like a social media manager, unfortunately, so we don't really have
Yeah,
time for that.
you'd be more likely to find us on our personal accounts. We're more active
Yeah,
on those.
yeah. So me and um Matt are still on Twitter. Go to Blue Sky for our
Uh,
boy over here.
if any of you, I'm also on there. I'm not active,
Yeah,
but
I'm on Blue Sky
if
too,
you
technically, but
if you want like Fortnite content, follow me on Twitter.
oh
'Cause That's been
god,
like that's been like the only thing I've been posting. So
yeah,
Matt, when Miku gets added, we gotta play Fortnite together.
yeah,
That's
yeah. All
well,
right.
I'll get her. I've gotten every other
I'll
music pass up to this point.
Technically, this is a new year, so this will be our first podcast of the year. So exciting stuff coming, like we've been saying, a lot of prediction videos and stuff. So be
Mario Kart,
excited for
probably Mario
that.
Kart
Yeah.
1 too. Probably Mario
We
Kart 1.
probably have to get some stuff. Like I really hope. Part of me wants it to be announced next week, but part of me doesn't because we haven't even started
Like,
recording the prediction
yeah,
videos. So.
like would they announce a game that early? Because I
Well,
thought it was
not
just supposed
not
to be like
technically. I think what we're gonna get is like we did with the Switch. Is they're gonna be like Mario peeking behind. Guess
hardware.
what? The NX
Yeah.
trailer is coming out.
Oh, yeah.
So
Like they'll have like a hardware trailer. They'll
yeah,
just show what it does, and then maybe in a month or so we'll get like
yeah,
a couple game reveals.
yeah.
I still
That's. I
think
mean,
Metroid
if
Prime
you
4. I still
if
think Prime 4 is on the new one. It's on
if
Switch
you
2. There's no
want
way
to
that.
see how we think the Switch 2 prediction or the Switch 2 reveal is going to go, we have a video for that as well, so you can go check that out. All right, well, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, follow Aurora on Blue Sky and Instagram, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.